What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ. And I am Young Diggins.
This is mostly nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo!
Get off my plane.
This week, get off my train. We're going to be talking about this movie. I guess he was on a plane too. You're right. I forgot about that. He got every little thing he could be on. Boat, train,
he was on
bicycle,
planes,
car thing,
trains, and automobiles.
horse, subway.
Yeah, subway.
Has anyone in a movie ever written more things in the movie? I'm surprised he didn't. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but there's some other stuff he could have gotten in that would have been really crazy, and it's just like no one will ever be able to get in all these things in one movie. But he didn't, so it's not a good movie. They missed the opportunity, you know, regardless
Spaceship
of everything else.
That could have been one.
Yeah,
that's spaceship.
True. You didn't get in the spaceship, and we'll
Is
talk
this-
about it.
Is this the Indiana Jones way of calling out the Fast and Furious franchise? Like,
Oh,
they only
maybe.
ride cars. Like, look at all the things Indiana Jones can ride.
That's true. Look at all the things he can ride and make a movie that people don't really want to see. It's just like you guys. We're incredible. I keep forgetting that movie came out this year, Fast X. Remember that?
Didn't only come out this year. It came out, like, a couple months ago.
Yeah, like it's within like our past 6 podcasts. Is that movie?
And then they put it on Peacock immediately, just to guarantee nobody would go to see it. It's amazing. You guys, this week we're talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Woohoo!
So incredible.
It certainly came out. Yeah,
It did come out. It's the hot new movie everybody's talking about. The many people will have forgotten they saw by the time they listen to this podcast. So that'll be fun. But before that, you guys, 2 newses, real quick newses. First one, I don't know if you saw this. Barbie is directed by a certain Greta Gerwig. Apparently, she is going to make Narnia movies for Netflix. Did you guys see this?
Oh, I
see
did
that.
not.
Yeah, she's going to do
That's
at least
cool.
2 Narnia movies for Netflix.
Is she going to do the one where the happy ending is the reveal that all the children died in a train crash?
Maybe.
Sorry, I guess spoilers for, like, 80-year-old books.
Yeah, spoilers
how
for
dare
whatever
you?
the last one is, I assume. Unless they come
it's the
back
last
to
one.
life.
The last,
okay.
Yeah, it's the last one. It's like the last battle, I think it's called.
Oh, God.
It's,
Why don't they resurrect them the same way they resurrected the lion in the middle of the other one?
I was going to say, it's the one where the already fairly obvious Christian allegory of that series just becomes overt.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I can see that being that. I don't know if they're going to make that one. I hope they bring back all the cast from the original. They won't, but, like, that movie has a crazy cast. Like, there's some people that are in those movies that you're like, oh, they're in those movies? Because they made 3 of them.
Yeah.
Which I keep forgetting.
Wait, they did?
I think so.
They did.
They made Prince Caspian, and then they made Prince Caspian.
Wait, hold on.
Okay,
They did
hold
Lion
on.
Witch in the Wardrobe. They made Prince Caspian.
I thought they made a 3rd one after that.
I thought so too.
Did they do Voyage of the Dawn Treader?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah,
That
they
doesn't
did.
sound familiar.
They did.
Wow.
2010. Yep.
Wow.
So they made one in 2000. Exactly. Right? Like, it's like, why? But I guess people were watching it. I don't know. But yeah, like, obviously you got Ben Barnes, classic guy everyone knows from Punisher or whatever. Was Prince Caspian, but then you got like Peter Dinklage is in those.
Oh yeah.
And
I have to imagine Peter Dinklage plays a character who does not show up past Prince Caspian.
you know, I don't. Oh, he's in Prince Caspian. That's the first one I believe he is in.
What's his character's name?
Prince Caspian. No, his name is Trumpkin.
Yeah, I don't think
Ooh.
that guy. I don't think that guy's around. Or actually, wait, no, Trumpkin. Which one is Trumpkin? It's been forever since I read these goddamn books.
I don't know, but he is actually. Well, let's see. That's Prince Caspian 1. Seems like he's in both of them. I don't know.
I can't believe there's a character named Trumpkin.
Oh, I guess Trumpkin is the one. So there's 2 dwarf characters who are important in that book. One is like good and one is not good. And I thought Trumpkin was the not good one, but actually I guess he's the good one.
How dare they? They've also got everyone's favorite guy, Will Poulter, was in Dawn Treader apparently.
Oh, we love him.
Yep, he's the hot new shit.
He must have been a young boy.
Yeah, this is probably one of his first movies. Simon Pegg is in those movies.
Oh,
Mission
hey,
Impossible
Simon
Zone.
Pegg. Very own Simon Pegg.
Sure.
Eddie Izzard is the
I'll
voice of
allow it.
Reepicheep.
So Simon Pegg is the voice of Reepicheep in the second one, but Eddie Izzard is the voice of Reepicheep in Prince Caspian. That's right. Like I said, there's way more stuff going on in these movies than you'd expect. Like, it's just like, and I think they made enough money, I guess, to justify their budget. But yeah, it really is that one franchise where I'm like, they made that many movies. I never even knew they made one of them. Like, I knew they made one, but I didn't even know they made Prince Caspian at the time. They kept bringing back Tilda. She's sticking around.
That's incredible because she's only in the first. I guess she's technically in the prequel book, but she's only in the first book.
I know, but she is listed in the cast, I'm assuming in some sort of flashback, in Prince Caspian, and I believe the Voyage of Dawn Treader as well. So yeah, we might see more of them. I don't know. I assume, do you think they'll start with the first one? Or do you think they'll start with Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? Because I know that's the third one in the series.
Well, okay. So it was the first one written, Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. Chronologically, Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe is the second one.
Are you sure?
Yeah, so chronologically, it's The Magician's Nephew, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. A little funky here because A Horse and His Boy takes place technically during The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's Voyage of the Dawn Treader, or no, Prince Caspian, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, The Silver Chair, The Last Battle.
Fascinating. He was cranking these books out too. Wow. They all came out within like a couple of years of each other. Like 1950, so Narnia comes out. Man, C.S. Lewis wrote a lot of books.
Yeah.
Probably.
He's prolific.
Yeah, wow. But yeah, so some of them, like, it looks like maybe 51, 50, something like that, to 56 is the time frame in which all these were published. Pretty wild.
Yeah. Well, I read all of them as a child because my grandparents bought them for me, hoping they would turn me Catholic, but instead they turned me into a nerd.
What's the weirdest thing that happens in these books?
Huh.
Sorry, what?
That's why they do this?
Yeah.
They're very Catholic, yeah.
They're extremely Catholic, DJ.
But I didn't know that's why they made them to convert.
No, it's not. I mean, he wrote it as a fantasy story, first and foremost, but he also made it a Christian allegory because C.S. Lewis was very Catholic.
Yeah, that I knew. I was like, is this like a secret like conversion book
Right, is this
thing?
like VeggieTales? Or like a song where you're in an Uber and you're like, what is this song? And then they start this Christian rock. It's okay, yeah, okay. We're talking about Jesus now. Interesting.
I was making a joke about my Catholic grandparents buying me these books because my grandpa liked them as a child.
Right.
And DJ decided to make it weird. So now here I am explaining the joke.
I'm sorry, continue.
Back to that. Here's my question. What is that you can remember? What's the single weirdest thing that happens in one of these that you want to see on screen?
Oh gosh. I mean, I feel like the end of Voyage of the Dawn Treader is like they get to the end of the world, like flat Earth end of the world, except it's like also sort of Lord of the Rings, like Elfland over there, where it's like the perfect eternal end of the world. So the point where to get there, you have to like crest over a wave that is just eternally frozen, just like cresting onto the land because time doesn't work at the end of the world. And Reepicheep just like sails over like, all right, well, see you later, fuckers.
Sick. Does he do it in a little rat boat or does he do it in the big boat?
He does it in a little rat boat.
Sick. Nobody tried that before. It's like a little rat boat. What's he supposed to be in the Christian allegory?
I think he's just a little rat man.
Just a little rat? Okay, yeah.
I think that's it.
Jeez, this is a little rat friend or something. Yeah. Well, this is great. I can't wait. Greta Gerwig, good luck. I hope it's good, unless it's boring. Just don't be boring. But also, I feel like these books are so weird. It's got to be pretty interesting. Speaking of things that are interesting, the other news I had real quick, I don't know if we talked about this on the show because I didn't want to say it because I wanted to surprise you guys with the news on the show, that Bad Bunny dropped out of El Muerto. Have we talked about this yet?
Oh, we did talk about that.
We did, right? Okay, I thought so. Well, a week has passed. What are your thoughts?
I'm still devastated.
Yeah, that's what it
what
sounds
will we
like
do?
in your voice.
I hope he pursues his other passions.
Which is wrestling, apparently.
Wrestling, yeah.
Guy. Yeah.
He's good, too.
I don't know how the El Muerto movie can recover from this blow. And we as a society needed the El Muerto movie. We were all looking forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, now that apparently the rumors are that Adam Driver was offered Mr. Fantastic, took it, and now turned it down, you think he might be getting in on El Muerto?
Yeah, why not?
Maybe that's why he turned down Mr. Fantastic, because he heard that El Muerto had become available, and he was like, well, that's clearly my real passion.
Exactly. He seems like... I don't know too much about Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny seems pretty tall. Adam Driver also seems pretty tall. Maybe that's all it is.
I don't know.
Maybe
that
they were
he's
just
that
like, we need a
tall.
tall man.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know how tall he is, but I didn't
think
think he was tall.
All right,
Well,
so
not
Bad
Adam
Bunny's
Driver tall.
5'11". Okay.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. If you're under 6 feet, you're not tall. You know,
No, that's fair.
And there are no short kings, so it's why Ron
mean-
DeSantis will never be president. No short kings.
Adam Driver's 6'2", so there's really only 3 inches separating them. They seem taller.
See, I thought Adam Driver was like 6'4". Like I thought he was very tall.
How tall is Daisy Ridley?
5'11" is taller than average.
Yeah.
But it's not 6 feet. That's a golden number. It's it's what lets you be president. Can't be president if you're not 6 feet. It's the rules.
It's the rules.
Yeah.
I have always said every inch over 6 feet is just showing off, though.
I don't even disagree with you there.
Well, all the 6 feet people, you will all die in a ghost ship incident where a really taut wire snaps and slices everybody over a certain height in half. And until then, enjoy your life and stuff, but watch out because you're getting ghost shipped. You guys ever seen Ghost Ship?
No,
I'm
but
familiar
if
with
it's
the
slicing,
reference.
if it's slicing everyone in half, then only really, really short people are gonna live.
Yeah, I believe only a child, like a baby, not baby, but like a 10-year-old lives through Ghost Ship. But she turns into a ghost herself because then she's just like alone on a ship with a bunch of half people. So it's not going to really work.
I mean,
I never
hey,
saw
lots
it.
of food.
That's true. The people and the food they were going to eat. If you get really desperate, you can even eat, because it's a ship, so you have to eat cruise ship food. So first you start by eating all the people, and then you eat the food afterwards. Speaking of movies where characters eat food, does anybody eat food in this?
In Morocco, do they eat food in Morocco?
I don't know.
Yes,
Street
yes,
food?
yes.
Oh yeah,
Not in Morocco, but in Italy. Phoebe Waller-Bridge and the small child eat street food.
and he gets an ice cream, right? He like steals some cash from a kid.
Gelato.
Gelato.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. So yeah, there's speaking of food. I'm here to talk about the movie, the hot new food movie this summer, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Hey-o.
Whoa,
You guys, it happened. They made a third last movie in the Indiana Jones saga. This one came 100 years after the last movie. It feels like so much time has passed. It's by James Mangold. We all love him from Logan, the wrestler. Wait, was he the wrestler? Yeah, right?
I think so. Right?
I think so, yeah. We got that is happening. It's got all the stars. Indiana Jones. There's 2 Indiana Joneses in it, old and young.
But they're both Harrison Ford.
Yep, they're both Harrison Ford. You got Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Hollywood's hot new thing from 5 years ago. Not that she's not good, but this does seem like a little bit of a Shia LaBeouf move to me. Of just like, that's a popular person. Let's see if that works. And then other people, right? Mads Mikkelsen. He's the other main lead, I would say.
Mads Mikkelsen in yet another villainous role in a pop culture mainstay franchise that wastes his talents.
Yeah, another one where one of the characters is de-aged and or recreated with computers, and you're like, I don't think it works. Much like
True.
Rogue One, a movie we all forget he's in. But he is in that.
That was one of the ones I was referencing.
Yeah, he gets that a lot. I feel like he's become our new guy. He's like a bad guy who just shows up in a movie, where you're like, this movie needs a bad guy. Can we get Mads Mikkelsen to do this?
Because he's a real menace about him, except none of these movies use it. It's bizarre.
Yeah, they always have him be pretty they always go for quiet with him and have him be kind of what's going on with him? But yeah, it's an interesting one. We'll talk about it. DJ, you're the IMDb spin of this week.
Yeah.
So what's about to happen?
All right, so we're going to play our favorite game, the IMDb Business Spelling Bee for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, in which we try and guess what the summary is from IMDb.com. And I know what you're all thinking. Hey, how does IMDb.com come up with these summaries? Well, it's very simple. What they do is the people at IMDb are like, oh my gosh, we have to write these summaries. So what they do is they try to go on different archaeological hunts to find artifacts that will help them write better, because they are creatively bankrupt and don't know how to write, even for things that they've seen. They're like, how do we summarize this? And what they found is the people at IMDb.com actually have found the Dial of Destiny, which we'll talk about because it's in this movie. And what they do is they use it to use math to try and go back in time, but it doesn't always work right because for reasons that they don't understand. So instead what they do, they just take a bunch of ayahuasca and get really high, and then they're like, oh, I think we know what this movie is now. And you might be thinking, wait a minute, that's weird. How is that related to anything that's going on? And it doesn't, because sometimes the things that we talk about aren't always connected to what happens in the movie or its summary.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
It really makes you think.
It really does make you think. Sometimes you don't want to spoil certain things about the movie as you're going through it, and then you're like, oh, like I'm caught up in the air, I don't know what to do, so you just, you make some other shit up. Does that make sense?
To some extent,
Yeah.
it depends on how many vehicles they get in when they're trying to write the thing. And that's
So
really
many
what
vehicles.
defines the thing.
Yes,
This
so
really
many
might
vehicles.
be. He doesn't get in a submarine. That's the one vehicle he's missing in this movie.
Yeah, too topical. They didn't want to, low hanging.
Yeah, they
fruit.
probably
didn't
cut
wanna
that
go for
scene.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he becomes a submarine, kind of. He goes underwater. So there's that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And they go look for an old ship on the seafloor.
That's true. Maybe. Do you think there were eels on the Titanic? Oh, maybe.
So many eels. Okay, so that's how we get the game. Nando, you as the super long loser, hopefully turn around today. You get to decide whether you go first or second. I will say it's short, so you can keep it short. Like it is a sentence, so keep it short.
I would like to go second.
All right, Diggins.
Damn.
Ah!
Okay, so it's a single sentence.
Yeah.
Short.
Yeah. Those two things are the same, by the way. I'm not saying it is a short single sentence. I'm starting. It's short.
I get you. I get you. Okay. Indiana Jones returns for one last ride with his goddaughter Helena to recover the famed Dial of Destiny.
Okay, Nando.
Okay, I'm gonna say Indiana Jones. Okay, legendary archaeologist Indiana Jones needs to team up with new friends. Did they say the name? No, I'm not gonna say they do. Needs to team up with new friends to stop evil forces from getting a mysterious relic known as the Dial of Destiny. What do we think?
I think it's basically a tie. Okay. I have an inkling of who should win.
Based on justice?
Based on justice.
If it's... As per usual, if the person you have an inkling you think should win is me, then you should go with that. If it's Nando, you should go with the tiebreaker.
You guys both did poorly.
Okay.
One of you added one...
Wait, I was about to do that.
Yeah. Is that the one of you hasn't seen?
I actually have seen it since then.
So okay. Cool.
I have seen all of these now.
Nice.
I have two tiebreakers.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to take in all the information because I don't want to say anything yet. I don't want to contaminate the jury pools. Okay, here's my first one. Okay, now this should be very familiar because I think for one of our previous IMDb summaries where I was the judge, there's a phrase in this summary that's like a phrase that describes something that's happening that I think was in one of the summaries that we just did 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Can you guys guess what it is that's in this summary? That's something about what Indy is doing, and I'm pretty sure it was in one we just did.
I mean, I kind of remember the thing that it seems like you're talking about.
I remember the thing you made us guess, which was Race for His Life.
Yeah.
I guess it isn't.
I can also see it being Race Against Time. I figure you could work time into this since it's a time that's a part of the movie, but I don't know.
It is Race Against Time, but you're right. That was different from the thing, so I'm misremembering. Okay,
Race Against Time was my guess, which was wrong. The actual thing was Race for His Life.
That's right. All right, so now we're going to go to my tiebreaker, which is kind of related to this movie, but it's also related to Crystal Skull, but I don't care. This is my tiebreaker, goddammit. Okay. John Rhys Davies reprised his role as Sala in this movie.
Incredibly, they let him do that.
Indiana Jones was trying as hard as he could not to let him do that, but they did end up still doing that.
So apparently, he was offered a cameo in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in a certain scene. But he, quote, thought the character of Sala is worth more to the audience than that. Can you guys guess the scene that he would have cameoed in from Crystal Skull?
That's an interesting question.
Thank you.
I actually know the answer to this, so Nando should go first.
Son of a bitch.
So that he has a chance. I'm saying you should go first, so that you have a chance.
I know. It's bullshit that you know it already. I mean, he definitely wasn't going to get eaten by ants, right? That would be insane if they had him, like, driving that little car and then he lands and the ants eat him. India, just love going on adventures. This is okay with me. I died as I lived. I guess. So there's only really 2 scenes that make sense for this. He'd either have to be in that first scene or the last scene. I feel like there's a bit in the middle I'm forgetting. No, yeah, it's got to be one of those 2 scenes. I'm gonna say they offered him to be at the wedding. It sounds like what they would do.
Yeah, ding, ding,
Yes,
ding, ding. It
was
was,
correct.
in fact, the wedding scene.
Okay. They could have had him being eaten by ants, so that would have been pretty cool now I think about it. If he just
All
showed
right.
up, like, with the... Because in the end of that scene, you guys remember that scene ends with Marion just kind of showing up with a car and, like, saving him, and then they land in the car. Yeah. If that was him instead, India, I'm back. And then he hit a pothole or something and then flipped out of the car, and then just, boom, ants devour him. That would be great.
That would have been very funny.
So what's the other tiebreaker, DJ?
So I know you guys hate this tiebreaker, but I actually think it kind of makes sense
Oh, I hate
in
it so much,
this
but,
one. Who is third billed in this movie? So 1 is Harrison Ford, 2 is Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Who do you guys think is third?
I feel like this one's obvious. Or
that-
rather,
Oh, is it?
it should be obvious, and it's not going to be that because he's making us do this.
Yeah, the fact that we're doing it is like... It probably isn't that person.
Although it's
then.
me, remember, so maybe like, maybe
Right.
I'm the idiot.
Okay.
It's him. He's the problem. It's him.
All right. Well, then I'll say the obvious one. Mads Mikkelsen.
Okay.
Nando?
I'll say. Oh God, it's DJ. It's like I'm gonna try to think of who has more screen time, Boyd Holbrook or Toby Jones. Those are the 2 other actors that I'm like, these are kind of big actors. I can see them thinking this is worth it for them. And I think the answer to that question is, I can't pick Mads Mikkelsen because he picked it. I'm going to say Toby Jones.
It is not Toby Jones. It's not Mads Mikkelsen. It's Antonio Banderas.
Oh, right. I forgot he was in this. Doolittle's own. Yeah.
By the way, Mads Mikkelsen is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Not far down enough
Teddy-
as far as I'm concerned.
Teddy is above Mads. My gosh, Toby Jones, Thomas Kretschmann, Shawnette Renee Wilson, the
Oh my
CIA
God.
agent who gets shot real early. Like, they're all above Mads.
Spoilers for CIA agent Jeanette,
my bad.
whatever her name is, fans. Who, I'm sure they're coming. I'm sure. Oh, man. That is such a role. If people liked her from a thing. I don't know what else she's been in, but that seems like one of those actors that I'd be like, oh, man, I'm a big fan of them from that show I watched that no one else watches. I can't wait to see what they're going to do in the movie. And then you'd get there and be really mad.
She was the Dora Milaje in Black Panther?
Oh, which one? Just one of them?
Yeah, I think it seems like just one of them.
Cool.
So
Very well utilized, I guess. Well, okay. Wait, where's Toby Jones? Is he like super far down the list?
6. So yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. Oh, 8. Sorry, 8. He's pretty far down too. Yeah.
See, he was like, I kind of was like, well, he shows up pretty early in the movie, so sometimes that helps. But I don't know. With that, it does seem like they just really, go with whatever they feel like on the day. So arbitrary.
Yeah, it's crazy. And this is in
another
credits
tiebreaker?
order, so that's like through the credits. Oh no, I've decided who's won.
Oh, okay.
Nando, you win.
Incredible.
I was like, I wanted to go through just to, you got the wedding part right. The second one didn't really matter. But okay, the actual summary. The reason you won, Nando, you gave one additional detail. You called Indiana Jones an archaeologist. And that was the one. I wish you'd called the thing correctly. I think you said relic, not artifact.
Right, yeah, I should have said
So,
it was an artifact.
Then you would have won.
I think
it,
we
no
should all
problem.
recognize that Nando has won only because of my own magnanimity in admitting that I knew the Sala thing.
That's true. That just means you're a good person.
Well, if you had gone first, you would have answered it, and then we probably would have had to keep going, right? That's how
That's
it usually
true.
goes.
Yeah.
But wait, hold on. I had a thought.
Well, if I had gone first and got it right and didn't admit that I knew it ahead of time, then that's just winning the tiebreaker.
What was your thought, Nando?
Oh, and another thing that I was like, imagine if they brought Sala back for the wedding, but he was there to object. Keep her away from him. He's not worth it. Indiana.
Indy.
No, we can still be together.
Oh my God.
I waited this long.
All right, well, here's a summary. Archaeologist Indiana Jones races against time to retrieve a legendary artifact that can change the course of history.
See, I didn't know if they'd go that far with it, because I didn't know that going into this movie.
Yeah, I didn't know what this thing was, and frankly, for most of the runtime of the movie, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was going to be that thing from that movie where Nicolas Cage has a kid that can write down the 9/11 is happening or something. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was going to be one of those, and it kind of is. It's got, like, at one point they explain it, and they're like, how did he know, or something. But it's not that. It's something different. Although I haven't seen the Nicolas Cage movie, so maybe this happens in that, too. Incredible. So, Diggins, that means you're going to give me a summary for this movie, which is very helpful, because there's certain parts I still don't get.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Remember. Yeah.
I saw this movie yesterday. Yes, I saw it yesterday. And already it's kind of hard to hold on to details.
Yeah.
But I'll do my best. Okay, so we start with a flashback. At the end of World War II, it's like 1944, Germany's losing. Indy and another little sidekick man he's had that we've never heard of before.
Yep.
Are infiltrating a castle where the Nazis are looting a bunch of like relics and artwork, etc. Specifically because they are looking for the Lance of Longinus, which is the tip of the spear that pierced the side of Jesus Christ at his crucifixion.
Right. This is that spear of destiny that like Howard the Duck had or something. We talked about this, I think, a little while ago.
Yeah, well, I think it was a while ago at this point. But yeah, we did talk about the Lance of Longinus before.
What movie was it in? Was there a guy that was trying to get it in like one of the movies we watched? Everybody's always after this thing.
I think it was referenced in a movie at least. Or,
yeah.
I don't know. Whatever it was, there was a relic purporting to be the Lance of Longinus in Austria at the time of Hitler's takeover, which he did have brought to Berlin. But contrary to popular belief, Hitler himself was not much of a mystic, and he just liked the propaganda value. It was some of his advisors who were like neo-pagan weirdos. Anyway, so they're getting the Lance of Longinus because they're like, it's super powerful and Hitler wants it. And Indy and his new friend, whose name I can't remember, something Shaw.
Arnim Zola. Doctor, or dinosaur engineer, or dinosaur auctioneer. The classic role we all love, know and love.
Right, yes. So they're infiltrating the castle. Indy gets caught, and they're gonna kill him, but then there's a bomb, and he escapes. He gets onto the train where they're shipping all this stuff, but Dr. Mads Mikkelsen is there, pretending to be German. The character is German, but Mads Mikkelsen isn't. So you don't get confused.
Did you guys catch the other Nazi that's in this thing? Like in this opening scene? Did you recognize him at all? I mean, you probably wouldn't, but I would. He plays... so it's Thomas Kretschmann plays Colonel Weber, and I remember watching this, and I had to like remember in my head to check this later. He also plays the Nazi from the Hydra guy in the beginning of Age of Ultron. He is I cannot remember that character's name. Baron Strucker. So he's one of those guys that Hollywood calls to do Nazi stuff.
I was gonna say, how does it feel, do you think, to be told like you got a real Nazi kind of look about you?
I mean, you know, I don't know. His work is work, but next he was also in U-571. He was in King Kong. That's right. He was the guy. He was like the guy that's like, let's take fucking King Kong back to New York. I have formaldehyde, or not formaldehyde. What do they use? Chloroform. He's that guy.
Yeah.
Love him. Anyway.
So much fucking chloroform.
Yeah.
Dr. Mads Mikkelsen is there. Dr. Mads Mikkelsen is like, I'm a physicist, but even I can tell that this Lance of Longinus is fake. It's not the real one. And the Nazis get all mad about it. And also they've kidnapped Indy's partner and are trying to torture him for information about why they're there. But Indy has broken free because of the bomb, and he's made on the train. He beats up a bunch of Nazis, rescues his friend. and they find an artifact that Dr. Mads Mikkelsen is obsessed with and thinks is more powerful than the Lance of Longinus. The never called in the movie the Dial of Destiny, instead called the Antikythera.
Yep.
Or Antikythera. I'm not sure exactly the Greek pronunciation of this, which is a mathematical dial built by Archimedes.
Now, is that a real thing?
No.
Okay.
I think Antikythera is like a real word, but it doesn't refer to a specific thing. It's just like some sort of mathematical device. I will double check that, but there are many
Archimedes?
Yeah.
Did Archimedes look like that?
Exactly like that.
What do we think?
I mean, we don't really know. Basically, as far as we know. Okay, yeah, an Antikythera is a hand-powered orrery, which is a device that lets you measure and keep track of, like, the stars and eclipses and stuff like that.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
That's kind of what this is, yeah.
Yeah. But this one is so precise that it lets you predict time fissures. What does that mean? You gotta wait another 2 hours.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have more adventures. They jump off the train right before it gets blown up by an Allied plane. And they escape.
What happens to Mads Mikkelsen? Nothing, I assume, because he's alive in the future, right?
Well, he does get, while the train is going full speed, he gets smacked in the face by a metal pole that knocks him off the train.
Yeah. But it's okay, right? It's
not
totally
only
okay.
is he still alive later, he bears absolutely no mark or scar or anything from this incident.
Yeah, he still looks like Mads Mikkelsen, just... today. Great.
That would kill any person, right? Like, even Superman would be tough to get back up from that.
That would vaporize your brain, like, instantly.
I mean, otherwise, what's the train? Like, yeah, it's like people are falling off the train, right? That's probably about as bad. And we're assuming all those guys die, I guess. But yeah,
it's honestly worse because you, while going full speed, like, slam into something that makes you instantly stop.
Yeah,
like,
that's
true.
That's basically like falling from, like, terminal velocity.
Ooh, speaking of terminal, is he a Terminator? Maybe that explains it. It seems like something you could do to a Terminator, and maybe that's why he keeps wanting to do that one thing he wants to do so badly.
Could be. But yeah, Indy and his partner escape. They have the Antikythera, the dial, except it's only half of the dial. It's not the whole thing. Cut to the future, by which I mean 1969, when the moon landing happened. Indy is still a professor, but now he's not hot, and women don't take his class to hit on him anymore.
Yeah. They gotta get it together.
But he's still shirtless, so...
And he looks great.
I mean,
for a man his age, yeah.
For a man in his 70s, he looks pretty good.
I was like, way to go, Indy. It almost, for a second, I was like, is this like the Ghost Rider scene where they used CGI to make Nicolas Cage's abs? But I don't think they did. That seems like his real, like, body. It's impressive.
Yeah, those kids should stop playing the Beatles.
He's got to get ripped so he can be Red Hulk in the next one. My next Avengers movie. He's going to do it with because he says he hates being in a CGI pimple suit, so they just painted him red, and that's what they do. I love it.
Anyway, yeah, he and Marion are separated now because between every single movie they break up, I guess. I don't know.
Well, can we talk about the thing that happened that we learned later?
Amazing. Oh my God.
I will mention it when we get there because it's too good.
All right.
And he's retiring also. But he gets visited by his goddaughter, who is his little partner at the beginning's daughter, Helena Shaw.
Wombat.
Who has grown up to be Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And she's like, I'm doing my doctorate on the Dial of Destiny, and I want your help to go find it because you and Dad lost it in the river all way back in World War II. And you're like, wait, that's not what happened, huh? Because the movie's not being very clear that she...
Yeah.
Because, okay, what's actually going on here is like a double bluff, where she's lying that her dad told her that story, and that's what she believes.
Right.
It's a double lie, because he never told her that, and she doesn't believe it.
Yeah.
She knows that he has it, which is what turns out to be the truth. Indy actually has the half of the dial because her dad went crazy obsessing over it over the years and gave it to Indy to destroy because he thought it was too powerful. But Indy was like, this is like a very priceless relic. And also, despite all the things I've seen, I don't believe in, like, time fishers or whatever. So,
I mean,
yeah.
what is he? I mean, he's seen aliens.
Yeah, he's seen aliens.
He saw the Jewish god reach forward through the Ark of the Covenant and melt the faces of a bunch of Nazis.
He heard it. He didn't see it.
That's true. He specifically did not see it.
As far as he knows, those Nazis could have just left. You know? 'Cause they didn't leave any trace either.
He saw Hindu priests empowered by Kali. I mean, listen, there's a million things wrong with all that sentence there, but
No,
let's
that's
not
what
worry
happens.
about it.
That's all right.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure they nailed it.
That's what happens in the movie, but, like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I understand that is nowhere near accurate to any religious practice whatsoever. Like, rip people's hearts out and stuff. He's seen an immortal knight from the Crusades tell him about the Holy Grail, and a man who drank from the wrong grail instantly aged into a skeleton.
Yeah.
And he's seen some aliens.
He saw a guy get eaten by those ants.
And he saw a guy eaten by those ants, yeah.
But none of those are time travel.
No, they're not time travel. It's like,
Yeah,
I
you're
feel
right.
like aliens bring time travel into the realm of possibility for me. Like, that's like science fiction stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, more science fiction stuff. Whatever. I guess that's an option. I don't know. Indiana Jones, I get it. He wants to keep his head down. He doesn't give a shit about any of this anymore. I can respect that.
Yeah, so he shows it to Helena, who's all like, ooh, it's special. But at the same time, Dr. Waller, now going by Dr. Schmidt, who is Mads Mikkelsen, was a Nazi scientist who got Operation Paperclipped and now does rocket stuff for the U.S. government.
In Alabama.
Yeah, he's a professor at Alabama and does government stuff.
He's the character from the fucking show I watched where they have guns on the moon. What the heck is that show called? For All Mankind. There is a character in that show who lives in Alabama who is a Nazi scientist who goes and works for the rocket program. He's not, like, super evil. Like, he's not trying to, like, destroy the world.
He's a
still,
Nazi.
Like, yo, yeah, he's still a past Nazi. And, like, he's, you know, but he's like, he's not, like, doing what this guy's trying to do. But it's a similar character. And I'm like, is that a real guy that existed that they're going for? Because the Alabama thing is so on the nose.
I don't know about the Alabama thing, but we totally did hire a bunch of Nazi scientists to work on rockets.
Oh, yeah, you know who told me? Arnim Zola in the Captain America movie he's from, too. He also plays a little Nazi from the movie. Yeah.
True.
They got the whole paperclip crew together. Back, baby.
Anyway, he's there, and he has, again, in a sequence that's kind of confusing, he's both working with the CIA to recover the dial, because he's convinced them that it's important, but he also has his own goons who are not the CIA. And if I were the CIA, I'd be like, absolutely not. You cannot bring your own goons. Are you insane? Mm-hmm. But apparently they're fine with it. I don't know. So they show up to get the dial. His goons kill some innocent people, and the CIA woman's like, what are you doing? You can only kill innocent people if they're not Americans.
Yeah.
At the same time, Helena betrays Indy and steals the dial and runs off. Indy then has to run away from the goons and the CIA. He gets the murders pinned on him for some reason. He like made the 911 call. I don't know why the police are like, well, it had to have been him.
It had to have been this old man professor.
It had to have been this
He's
old
just a
man
murderer.
professor who's worked with these people for a decade and was retiring. And I don't know, I guess he just came in with a gun and shot two people for no reason. Then again, that's about the level of work I expect from the police.
Yeah.
Anyway, Indy gets Sala to help him because Sala's now a cab driver in New York. Sala is an Egyptian character who is still played by Welshman John Rhys Davies. I feel like he's a legacy. We let it happen because it's a legacy, I guess.
And he's the only, he's like conceivably the only character for the old movies, besides a couple that we'll get to, that they could bring back. So they're like, we gotta do him, I guess. And the fans love him.
So he helps Indy get to Morocco because he's found out that Helena works with some like gangster types in Tangier, auctioning off old artifacts. So he goes there to find her. He does find her while she's auctioning off the Antikythera. And he's like, no, it's an artifact. You can't do that. And she's like, it's too late. I'm already doing it. But then Mads Mikkelsen also shows up and is like, actually, I'm going to shoot everybody and take it for myself. And there's a big fight, and then it turns out that she came back to do an auction even though the Morocco gang doesn't like her anymore, which I'm not sure why she did that.
Good question.
But she was engaged to the son of Big Rahim, who is the head of the Morocco Mafia, Little Rahim. And Little Rahim is very upset with her because she ran off without marrying him, and also after he paid her bail. So they have a big chase through all of Tangier, where Indy, Helena, and a little kid who works with Helena for some reason. His name's Teddy. They ride a little cart through Tangier while Mads Mikkelsen and Little Rahim chase them in their cars. This goes on for a little while. Eventually they get away from everybody.
A little while.
Yeah, I was going to say it goes on
for a long while.
But
yes. I believe Mads Mikkelsen escapes with the dial, but Helena, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, has memorized all her dad's journals. So she's like, I know where to go to get the other half. And they don't. So they go and do some cool deep-sea diving with Antonio Banderas to find the Graphicos, a tablet that Archimedes made that tells you where the second half of the dial is.
You gotta get the thing to find the thing.
Super
right.
handy.
It's a fetch quest. You gotta do the fetch quest.
So they do that. They dive underwater where they find the Graphicos, and everything's cool, except, Mads Mikkelsen followed them, and they show up and shoot Antonio Banderas and are like, give us the Graphicos. And Indy's like, no, but Helena's like, I'd rather be alive. So she starts translating the Graphicos and what it says and everything, and Indy's very disappointed. But then it turns out that she smuggled in some dynamite and does a daring escape by lighting it on fire with Indy's help and blowing it up. I promised I would mention this. So the night before they go diving, they have a little talk where Helena's like, I only care about money. And wouldn't you want to change the past if you could? And Indy's like, I'd tell my son Shia LaBeouf not to enlist in the Vietnam War and get himself killed. And you're like, what? That's what happened?
Yep.
Shia LaBeouf died in Vietnam?
Can we talk about this for a couple of whatevers?
Well, we'll talk about it when I'm not summarizing the movie.
Yeah, all right. Because I have a couple things to say about
I have a feeling that's going to be a big part of our conversation.
Oh my God.
So she blows up some dynamite. They escape on the boat that Mads Mikkelsen took in, and while they're stuck on Antonio Banderas' boat. And she's like, haha, I tricked him. That was a fake thing that Archimedes put in to trick people. There's a real thing underneath all the wax if you melt it. And that tells us where the second half of the dial actually is, which is some cave on Sicily. Unfortunately, they don't put any effort into maintaining the ruse of them going to Alexandria, so Mads Mikkelsen watches them demonstrably not heading towards Alexandria and is like, well,
Yep.
I guess they lied to me.
Yeah, it's binoculars. They just follow.
Really good ones.
There they are. Yeah.
Best fucking binoculars.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, he only follows them for a little bit, which makes it more insane because they just had to, head south for, I don't know, a mile and then go to Sicily, and it would have tricked him. But they don't even do that much.
Yeah.
Anyway, they go to Sicily. Teddy gets kidnapped by Mads Mikkelsen because they followed them here again. But Helena and Indy are like, well, they're not going to kill Teddy because they want to know where the stuff is. So we're just going to go and find the other half of the dial. So they go to the big cave. They go through the cave. They find it. They find Archimedes' tomb, which is where the second half of the dial is. And his corpse has a wristwatch. So they're like, whoa, he could do time stuff. But then Mads Mikkelsen shows up. They have a big fight. The little kid straight murders a man.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Just absolutely, handcuffs a man underwater and lets him drown to death slowly.
Lights out.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Indy gets shot, and Mads Mikkelsen kidnaps him and takes the second half of the dial. So he's got the full dial now. Helena and Teddy follow. Mads Mikkelsen gets in an old World War II plane because it turns out what he wants to do is use the dial to find the right time fisher to go back to was it 1939, right before, like 2 weeks before the invasion of Poland, I believe is what Indy says. So he can assassinate Hitler and take over Nazi Germany so he can do it right and not make a bunch of mistakes that Hitler did, because he just still really believes in the Nazi cause.
Yep.
He has his uniforms for his guys and everything.
Mm-hmm. They're fully disguised.
I guess that's true, but he's
I think they did
it.
that so that they would look like they belonged in that time period. But yeah, probably also a little bit excited to be a Nazi again.
Yeah, he loves it.
He loves Nazis.
His guys, what are they? Like, is Boyd Holbrook a secret Nazi?
I don't know if he's a secret Nazi or if he's just a guy who loves money so much he doesn't care if he's literally helping the Nazis win.
And sent back in time? Like, what does this character want? Just be like, okay, well, you go have fun. I'm going to stay in the present. No, he wants to go back to Nazi Germany. That's why I figured this guy's got to be a secret Nazi.
He wants what all guys like this in these movies want, to be a henchman.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just their calling in life. But yeah, so they get in their big World War II German bomber and are going to go through the time fissure while Helena sneaks on board and Teddy steals a plane to follow them. And they go through the time fissure while Indy's warning them, like, no, there's continental drift. The calculations won't be correct. You're not going to go back to Nazi Germany. But he doesn't convince Mads Mikkelsen until it's too late. They go through the time fissure, and it turns out they're not in Nazi Germany. They're all the way back in the Roman siege of Syracuse.
What?
Yeah, they're 2,000 years in the past, when the Roman Republic was sieging the city of Syracuse in Sicily. And they're like, what do we do? And unfortunately for them, it turns out the Roman triremes have the incredible aiming ability of people in Game of Thrones. Where they can hit something out of midair, hit a fast-moving target in midair with a harpoon.
They're so good.
They're so good. So they use that. They knock out the they knock the plane out of the sky. There's a big fight. Helena kills a bunch of guys by releasing the plane bottom. And then they throw Mads Mikkelsen out of the plane, and he's dead too. Or no, they don't throw him out of the plane. He stays in the plane. They jump out of the plane with the parachute, and Mads Mikkelsen dies in the plane crash.
Right.
And then Archimedes walks up and steals Mads Mikkelsen's wristwatch.
Yep.
Also, Mads Mikkelsen's face is like done, and it's like, which makes sense, but it's funny that like this is what takes him out. Like, it's just as plausible he'd survive this as surviving the other thing. Like, he just walks out like, oh, that was rough.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's all good. All the Nazis are dead, and Teddy lands the plane. So they're like, well, we can fly through the time fissure before it closes. But Indy's suddenly like, no, I want to stay in ancient Greek times. Even though I'm shot and dying. And Helena's like, Indy, they don't even have, like, medicine. What are you talking about? Like, you'll die in, like, a week. And Indy's like, no, I'm old and there's nothing for me. I want to stay here. And Helena's like, all right, listen. And then she punches him in the face and knocks him out.
I love it.
And
Real
then
indie move.
Then he wakes up in his bed. He's feeling better. He had all his wounds tended to. And Marion's there. And she forgives him for no reason. Or not even forgives him. They drifted apart because of the grief of losing their son. But now it's fine, I guess? I don't know. They wanted Karen Allen to show up.
Yep.
And they do the bit from Raiders again.
And Sala is there, too.
And Sala is also there. Sala goes to get ice cream with Helena and all the kids.
Yep.
And that's the end of the movie. Indy grabs his fedora off of the fire escape, and that's the end of the movie.
My goodness. There was no post-credit scene, right?
There was not.
Thank God.
You think we're getting another one?
I mean,
No.
yeah.
Harrison said he's done. He's like, I'm done
sure.
with
And
this character.
I think if this hit, maybe we get a Phoebe Waller-Bridge one, but it doesn't seem to have, so... Yeah, I'm doubtful.
So, Nando,
yeah,
you get to tell us what you thought of this movie.
It's just not even that interesting to talk. I cannot remember, like, some of the things you were saying, I was like, oh, right, that did happen in there. Because this movie, it's fine. It's not very, it's just like, it's not as, the parts of it that are bad aren't as bad as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but the parts of it that are good aren't as good as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull either. And for that reason, it's just like, fine. Indiana Jones is in it. He's okay. The beginning stuff with the train and the de-aging is weird. I still don't like it. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is fine. I think her shtick is, like, okay in these. but like it fits well enough into it. But at the same time, she's just like, I don't know. It's just that nothing interesting is happening. I guess, you know what? It just doesn't look great either. It looks like a regular little movie. Looks like any studio blockbuster, or Jurassic World, or a Marvel movie, or whatever, which is fine. But they used to look cool. And I think all the bad guys are weird. I think there's a second where I'm like, oh, Mads Mikkelsen's kind of up to something, but it's almost impossible to follow or really care about. So, yeah, I didn't really like it. I hope this is the last one, but I'm going to pretend Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is the last one. Because I think I like that one more, and at least I kind of remember what happened in it. Yeah. Everybody, who else was in it? Everybody in it was fine. I liked Antonio Banderas' guy. I liked that character being like a guy that Indiana Jones knows, and it's like, hey, you're my friend from old adventures. It's like, yeah, he is. Cool. But that scene was weird, though. I didn't like it. I hate eels. Remember that time we all met eels? When I went to California, I was like, these are the fucking scariest things I've ever seen. So, I didn't like them. I mean, they were like weird CGI eels, so who cares? But like in real life, that would be the worst.
Eels are your snakes. That's you like. Eels.
Yeah. I mean, I hate underwater in general, so absolutely worse than snakes. Yeah, overall, this movie it's fine. I'm sure people will. I know people that like it. I can't imagine it'll be anybody's favorite Indiana Jones movie. I know it's quite a few people's least favorite Indiana Jones movie, and I totally get it. And yeah, I'm not surprised that it is not a humongous hit. Yeah, I hope everybody got paid. DJ or Diggins, right? Diggins, what did you think of this movie?
I agree with you. It's such an oddly flat movie. Where you're right. It's like nothing's as bad as like the jungle jeep chase in Crystal Skull, but nothing's as good as the motorcycle chase in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
It feels like a movie that overlearned the lessons of Crystal Skull, where it's like,
yep,
it's trying to not be that weird and bad, but in doing so, just like takes no risks, and just it doesn't have that sense of like goofiness and fun that all the other Indiana Jones movies kind of have. Like I like I mentioned earlier, I went back and watched Last Crusade for the first time between these two movies, and like in that movie, whenever Indy punches a man, they have like a cartoon punch sound effect.
Yeah. Is Last Crusade the one where he meets Hitler?
Yeah, where he meets Hitler and Hitler signs his dad's diary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like stuff like that happens in these movies. Like they're not like unserious, but they're fun. They're a little goofy. And this one just isn't that. It's like weirdly understated. And I just feel like that doesn't work for it, because then without that heightening, it all just feels kind of bland. And yeah, the CGI stuff, like, it's not that the CGI stuff looks terrible or even, like, that bad with the de-aged Harrison Ford, but it looks just off enough that, like, every time I saw it, I was like, I don't know about this.
Well, it's the worst in the train scene, right? Because everything is CGI. Like, he's CGI. Yeah. The moving train is CGI. Probably, like there's just too much CGI.
Yeah.
Like, your brain can't handle it.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, I would understand if a person told me they like this more than Crystal Skull. Like, I'd get it. I don't agree.
Yeah, they'd be a coward, but sure. A coward's heart and don't appreciate it.
Exactly. But yeah, for me, this has got to be the worst of the Indiana Joneses. Which, I mean, I guess you got to say something for the series where the worst one is one where I'm like, this is kind of boring and I don't like it that much, instead of this is one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, it's tough when the best one is one of the greatest action movies ever made.
True.
And, like, the second best one is pretty close, I would say, quality-wise. And then there's this humongous, weird gap. But yeah, all the other ones land on a 6 out of 10 for me.
Besides all the racism, which to be fair is in all of them pretty much, I feel like Temple's pretty fun.
Yeah, Temple's not bad. Temple has more than enough stuff that redeems the parts of it that aren't as good or are like kind of weird to watch. You'd be like, well, just kind of get through that, but there'll be a fun little chase scene and, get that thing in the beginning where it's James Bond. There's a lot of great stuff there.
But yeah, I don't know. Just feels like It's kind of a sad note to end things on, kind of a flat note. It's not a wet fart, but it's a flat note. What about you, DJ? What did you think of this movie?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. This is the only one not directed by Steven Spielberg, right?
Correct.
It's very apparent. It's very, very apparent. I was looking, apparently John Williams did the score, which feels impossible.
It was going to be his last score, but he decided to not retire after all.
He's like 97. Like, what the fuck? Like,
it's not like he's running around punching dudes on set. He's just making music.
Yeah, he just waves his arms around, whatever. It's really easy.
What
You saw Tar. Anyone can do it.
You know, guys, after seeing this movie, with just, octogenarians abound, apparently, I feel really good about Joe Biden being president. I'm like, he could do it.
If he's ripped like Harrison Ford, then sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I watched this movie with a bunch of old people, because I went in an afternoon, and none of them could figure out how assigned seating worked.
Well, in this movie, does Indiana Jones ride a bicycle? I can't remember. Because that's what Joe Biden can do. That's his favorite thing. So, like, maybe Joe Biden's got to stop doing bicycle and start doing, like, fucking, riding a horse.
Little street cart, Moroccan story. That, yeah.
And then you get that Indiana Jones body we all love.
Can't wait to see Joe Biden shirtless.
Yeah. Well, RFK Jr. challenged him to that push-up contest.
Right.
God. Oh my gosh. So yeah, like, I agree with what you guys said about this movie. I will say I don't like this movie. And they did overlearn the problems from Crystal Skull. It feels like if they replaced the Crystal Skull aliens with, like, maybe some kind of time bullshit, Crystal Skull would have been, like, a banger of a movie. Because, like, there is a part when, like, this movie was so rough because it was so long. And I'm sitting there, and I went, like, evening, weekday, theater was basically empty. And I'm just like, oh, could I, like, go on my phone and play Marvel Snap right now? Could I, like, scroll Instagram? Like, could I do anything else? I'm so bored. But then they're on the plane, and they're about to go to the Time Fisher, and I'm like, what the fuck's gonna happen? Like, it was the one part of the movie that really grabbed me, because I had no idea what was gonna happen. Were we gonna get, like, Indian dinosaurs? Was he gonna go meet, like, past Indy? I was like, oh, like, let's go.
Yeah, were they gonna do, like, a little amusement park ride where they go through a bunch of time fishers? And it's like dinosaurs, ancient Romans, Wild West, far future, Hitler, or whatever. But
I think the best version of this would have been what the original plan was before they changed it, which was Mads Mikkelsen would have been right about the Time Fisher, and Indy would have to go through an extended sequence of saving Hitler's life.
Oh, man, that sounds awesome.
I know, right?
That's really funny. Would Hitler have been like Mr. Bean or something, where like, or like Mr. Magoo, where Indiana Jones is always like kind of protecting him in ways that Hitler is just completely oblivious to? That's what the Hitler in these movies does. So yeah.
It's like he like pats him on the back real hard to make him fall down to avoid like a sniper shot or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Hitler walks off like a steel beam, and then like Indiana Jones is moving a crane so that another beam gets on it just as Hitler's about to fall off.
God, I would love to see that version of this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, this stupid movie didn't want to take any risks, so it's like it's pretty like mediocre to bad. So yeah, like you guys said it, I didn't like any part of this movie. It was it was bad.
I liked that Phoebe Waller-Bridge got money for it.
Yeah,
that's
good for her, man.
And Antonio Banderas, I like him. He seems fun.
Yeah, I will say like the beginning of this movie, it's it's Indy in World War II, which like we never saw, right? We jumped from, when does Last Crusade take place? Or no.
Well, I mean, Last Crusade takes place during something like that, right?
They all are like in the years leading up to World War II. Like,
right, yeah.
Like Raiders is like 1932, and I want to say Last Crusade is like 37.
Yeah, so it's like we're not quite at the war. So that's what this was, which is like cool. And it's almost like I don't know if you have, like, would it have been better for Crystal Skull to have been an Indy World War II movie? But I guess, like, that's the other thing. I don't understand how Indy's age is supposed to work, because they've done it in, like, this really backwards way where the time between movies in universe is not, like, the time in real life. So then it's like, wait, how old is Indy during certain events?
Indy is, if we're going with his canonical birthday of July something 1899, is 70 in this movie.
Huh.
But he's 80 in real life, right?
He's 77 in real life.
Okay, so wait, can we back that up? So he's 70 in this movie. Crystal Skull was 12 years prior, so he was 58 in that movie?
Yep.
I guess so.
I guess. And then he's like in his like late or like in his like 30s in the original 3.
Yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm. I guess that works. Okay. All right. I guess it wasn't as messed up as I thought. Okay. All right.
I mean, it is super weird, though, that they've had to do this kind of sliding scale. Like, all right, we're going to make an Indiana Jones movie 15 years after the next one. Is it going to be present day? No, of course not. It has to be 15 years after that one, which is 1960. Yeah. Like, it just... Yeah, it makes sense, and I think as a premise that could work, except, like, you're saying, the first 3 all happen within a couple of years of each other, so then this weird, like, time skip thing doesn't quite feel right.
Well, it is thrown off a little by Temple of Doom being a prequel for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this movie's bad, so we should talk about this bad movie.
Yeah. What do you want to start with? Do you guys...
Mutt. We have to start with Mutt.
Right.
I just can't not start with Mutt.
He can't hold it in anymore.
What do you think, Mutt? What do you think happened to Mutt specifically?
Well, okay, so I just have a question from a logistics point. Okay, so, and again, this because of time. So Mutt was 18 in the last movie? Is that right? Was that the age he was?
Around
he
that.
wasn't going to go to college. That was a new decision he had made, right? So I think he's in high school.
So 17 or 18? Mm-hmm. All right, let's go with 17 to give the movie the most generous argument. What year was the first year of, like, getting drafted to Vietnam?
I don't know, like late 60s? Let's see. Vietnam draft.
I guess I should have done
64. Wait, hold on.
Well,
yeah,
hold on. But he wasn't drafted, though. He enlisted.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. All right, so even better. So, like, he enlisted, right? But, like, how... I guess you can enlist technically at any age, but there's a point where, like, you're not getting sent to the front lines if, like, you're a certain age. I mean, maybe it was different in Nam, because they're just like, yeah, we gotta get the bodies over there. This is, like, a fucked up war. But, like, I don't know, like... He would have had to been in his, like, mid-20s?
Well, Vietnam really started heating up, like, 63, 64. So, like, mid to early 20s. Which is not crazy to enlist.
I guess that's not unreasonable.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we're going to give it from that sense. But from the more, like... the writing sense, why did he have to die? Why couldn't it have been anything else?
We couldn't possibly bring Shia LaBeouf back, DJ.
I still think
so. We're gonna kill him.
We're
just gonna kill him then.
I guess so. I mean, I just feel like having him die in the Vietnam War feels really off for that character who was like a rebel. Was he just jumping at the cause to fight Vietnamese people? Like, that was not a super popular war. I think the movie knows that. But, like, I don't know. It doesn't track for him specifically.
Yeah.
But, I mean, maybe it does. I don't know.
Well, was it because, like, he was like, oh, his dumbass father just told him not to, and he wanted to defy me, and he went anyway.
He was like, fuck you, old man.
But it seemed like at the end of the movie he was going to go to college and, like, be a good boy. And, like, he had learned to do that. At least, like, obviously people could change. But, like, the difference between that and then 6 or 7 years later, whatever, however long it is, like, volunteering to fight in Vietnam seems like such a huge gap for that guy.
Yeah, because I don't believe... This isn't like fucking Steve Rogers' Captain America. It's like, I have to serve my country. I have to fight in World War II. I don't think Vietnam was that.
I mean, even if
I'm not
certain.
This
character is like... He's not like he's already been like... Like, if we met him in the first one and he didn't want to go to college because he wanted to join the army, I'd be like, okay, I guess he just really wanted to join the army. And, he changed his mind back. But he wanted to be, like, a mechanic, right? Or something?
Yeah, he wanted to fix motorcycles.
Yeah. So, like, such a crazy left turn for this guy.
Like, they couldn't have, like, gone into the writer's room and been like, I wouldn't have told him to get on that damn motorcycle. Just have him die in, like, a motorcycle crash, right? At least that's, like, on brand and realistic, and things that happen to people is they die in motorcycle accidents.
DJ, how is the audience supposed to remember that this is the 60s if someone didn't die in Vietnam?
Yeah.
How will they ever know?
What other things could he die in that we'd remember? Like, what's the Challenger explosion of the '60s that he could have been on?
He could have been like...
I can't believe that Mutt got assassinated by...
I was going to say, yeah.
By, God, who... Saran, I think, was the one who killed Bobby Kennedy.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I can't believe I should have told Mutt not to be JFK's chauffeur that day. He really wanted to drive that big old limousine around Dealey Plaza. And I told him not to.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I just don't, I don't know. I mean,
I think it's so messed up. I just think it's crazy that was the thing.
It's dumb. I think also, if we don't like Shia LaBeouf because we're not bringing him in, we should have him die in a silly way. You know? Should have told Mutt not to drink all that lighter fluid, but he thought he could be super cool and burn, breathe flames.
I should have told Mutt not to drive his motorcycle near the banana cream pie factory right next to the nail factory.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the greasers could have gotten revenge for that time. He made them start a big fight.
I mean, the jocks.
Just knife him. Both. I mean, he was a greaser, but he did kind of use them all. Maybe that one girlfriend specifically could have done it.
It's like, this is for my boyfriend.
Yeah. It's so weird. And it's especially weird because they replace him with a new kid that clearly would have been him if we were still cool with Shia LaBeouf.
It's true. Yeah.
He would have had a little bit of a different motivation to fuck over Indy in that one part, but he still would have been wisecracking, oh, I know what to do, old man, that whole thing. But also, that's what Mutt does in this movie. Also, we already did that. It's so weird.
I will say, in terms of choices to, have an indie replacement, I do think Phoebe Waller-Bridge does a better job of that in this movie than Shia LaBeouf did in the last movie. The last movie. Shia LaBeouf's character, Mutt is such a nothing. He's just some punk who doesn't really bring much to the table, and it's he's gonna ascend the throne. But at least, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is, an established character, and, is good and competent. And it's yeah, she could do this, Indiana Jones shit. You could see it.
See, my thing with her, and I don't disagree that she's a better fit for, taking up the mantle than he is. She just kind of feels like a Phoebe Waller-Bridge character from, Fleabag in 1960. It just feels
I mean,
I wish there was a little bit more character.
I don't know if I'd go that far, because those Fleabag characters are, they got a lot going on.
Yeah, that's fair. She's like a Phoebe Waller. She's like her droid from Star Wars, I guess. She's got that, kind of built-in rebelliousness that is so... I don't know. It's not it's too much, but it's it's so high energy. Mm-hmm. And it's to compensate for Harrison Ford being almost 80 and having low energy.
Yeah.
But I still think that balance never quite worked for me. But you're right. She's fine.
I like her as an actress. I don't know that... I don't think she's used especially well here, but I feel like she has enough, charisma that it kind of works anyway.
Yeah. I think the idea of her being, wanting to fuck over Indy in the beginning I liked a lot.
Having some more friction between the two of them was good.
Yeah. As she gets more into it, I'm whatever. Now she's just kind of doing what Indiana Jones is doing also, and it's, not as fun. But yeah, the friction bit, the bit where she's got the husband thing or whatever, that's kind of fun. Yeah.
So speaking of the various energy levels of performances, we have to talk about one of my predictions. Would you guys say that Harrison Ford is awake in this movie?
Most of it. Yeah, I think he's doing okay.
I think shockingly awake, actually.
He's just trying to. It's weird because he's playing a character that's also not kind of awake. He's especially in the beginning of the movie. He's Indiana Jones, kind of sleepwalking through his life. And then he starts doing chases and stuff, but he's still always there being stop doing the chase. And I'm you should want to do the chase, Indiana Jones. But yeah, I think he was okay in this.
I think he's definitely more awake than he has been the past few years, at least.
Yeah, I think it's about the same level of performance as Crystal Skull, thinking about it. The same amount of effort.
Does this portend good things for the future for
no.
For all the Marvel?
Definitely not. Because he doesn't get a big part of the back end, so that definitely doesn't help.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think he really cares about him the same way he cares about Indiana Jones. Maybe he does. Maybe he fucking loves... He was just waiting for William Hurt to die. He's I want to get that role so bad. For so that and other reasons, yeah. And then he got the role, and now he's this is all I've ever wanted. All this Indiana Jones, all this Blade Runner shit's just been so that I could play Thunderbolt Ross one of these days.
It's crazy that we might go through a phase in the next, let's say, 5 years where we had thought, going back to Star Wars Episode 7 and Blade Runner and Crystal Skull, like, oh, this is our, like, old Harrison Ford era where we're going to see, like, an older Harrison Ford. And that we were wrong. We may now be entering the old Harrison Ford era, where that era we're going to look fondly. Oh, remember Harrison Ford's late career where he did like Star Wars and Indiana Jones reprisals, and that was so fun. And that was before he's just like, had to get de-aged in every movie and is just being like carted out there like in a wheelchair. Thunderbolt Ross is going to have to sit in every scene as soon as he gets, on screen when we're doing these in like 2030. Like, I don't think he's going to stop. He's going to be doing like this Clint Eastwood shit where he's doing Gran Torino when he's like 85 or whatever.
How many threesomes do you think General Ross is going to have in Captain America New World Order? At least one, maybe two. I don't know if they want to start with one and work their way up to two, but that would be pretty impressive. Yeah, I feel like his character is going to sit a lot and then turn into Red Hulk and jump from building to building or something like that. This is what I was doing all the time. I could have done this at any point.
Maybe he's like, I had to turn into Red Hulk because I was just so sleepy. I'm so sleepy normally. When I'm Red Hulk, I feel so alive.
See, like, I guess, like, I think to compare it, he's better in this than he is in the Star Wars movies he's been in recently.
God, he did not give a shit about those Star Wars movies. He's so clearly,
we're home.
He so clearly did not want to be there.
Which is insane because for all of his work, like, I still think Han Solo eclipses Indiana Jones so much. Like, Han Solo will forever probably be his most iconic role, and he fucking hates it. He fucking hates it.
I don't
he
know
hates
that
people like us that like it so much that we talk about it with him, like, if we ever meet him. That's what he hates.
I don't think he hates Star Wars or that he was in it. Yeah, it's just like, A, he doesn't get a huge cut of the back end.
Yeah.
True.
And B, yeah, he just, I don't know. I guess it just doesn't mean something to him the way Indiana Jones does.
You don't think his main favorite role of his is Rooster from The Secret Life of Pets 2?
Damn, you got me there, actually.
Or Colonel Graff from Ender's Game?
Oh, man. I forgot all the good roles he's done.
Yeah, or Woodrow Dollarhide from Cowboys and Aliens? Remember that?
I'm telling you, we're going to look back and be like, that was Harrison Ford's secret prime. Because he's about to do 85 other really bad movies in the next, 7 years.
How dare you?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I see it coming.
I guess they finished filming Brave New World, so that is... Or if they haven't finished, they're close to finishing that one. Thunderbolts, we have no idea what that movie is going to be, so that could be completely different. He might not even be in it. But,
oh, man.
Yeah, they have his face now in computers, so they can just ADR whatever lines they want.
Seriously, it's. Did you guys get any of the Uncanny Valley effect with
Oh yeah, I hate it. This never works for me unless Samuel Jackson for some reason he's fine, but the rest of them always look weird. And his voice was bad. That was the problem. Everyone's kind of pointing this out, but he sounds like an 80-year-old Harrison Ford, and that's not good when he's not supposed to be that old.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if in Last Crusade, instead of River Phoenix being baby Indiana Jones, there was just a CGI'd little Harrison Ford running around speaking in 30-year-old Harrison Ford's voice?
Yeah, like what we do in the shadows. What's his name?
Colin
Robertson.
Colin Robertson.
Yeah,
yes.
Robinson. Yeah.
Robinson. Yeah.
I do feel like, and me and Diggins mentioned this a little bit, it's crazy how much how much Solo didn't work, because the obvious answer is just have Alan Ehrenreich do it. He could do these. He could be little Indiana Jones forever and ever. Amen. Have him do the little scene in the beginning, and we'd see him and go, who's that? Oh, right, that's the kid from Solo. But Solo didn't work so much that we don't even want to even try it. And it's dumb. Not dumb, but it's, I don't know, it just never looks good. Because, Matt Mikkelsen looks okay, but...
I don't think they really do any de-aging on him. He's just kind of
that was makeup, right? That was makeup and hair dye.
Yeah, the hair was important.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it is just makeup and hair dye. I don't think they did any CGI for him.
That's how they used to de-age. We didn't use computers.
That's right.
Use fucking makeup.
And they would do it the opposite way, where they would like have the actor in the past look about normal, maybe a little bit younger, and then they just draw some lines on his forehead in the present, and then you'd be like, he's much older, I guess.
Yeah,
his
like
hair
Back to
would
the
be different.
Future.
Exactly, yeah. We've done this before, and it usually works. But yeah, I mean, like, did they de-age him in something else too?
I never saw
think
Something
so.
Else too, because I didn't really like Something Else that much.
I mean, they didn't de-age him in Secret Life of Pets. But his dog is supposed to be the same age as he is. I just feel like there's some actors that they've tried this with, and it's like, no, not him. I think part of it is that his face has too much character. Same thing with fucking Tarkin. Like, you could do this with a nice, smooth face, like, you know, Harry Styles or something, probably. But they get these guys that have, like, these really kind of interesting faces, and it just doesn't look good. And I mean, they tried, but it's just not. We're not there.
So really, Sam Jackson has a wildly uninteresting face, is what you're saying. That's why.
That's correct. Yeah, his face is standard face. He's yeah. I mean, he also sounds a little too old in that show, but I don't know. Man, I think there's a line. I mean, how old is Sam Jackson? Let's see.
He's also in his 70s.
Yeah, he's got to be up there. Oh, 74, yeah. Because like, his voice now sounds a little different than it did in, like, when he was 50, but it doesn't sound that different. But Harrison Ford sounds very different.
Yeah. I think the problem is that when you get to the level of these like Sam Jacksons and Harrison Fords, I mean more Sam Jackson, but once you get a certain level of like you are no longer the character and you are just you, like there's no more Nick Fury in Secret Invasion. It's just Sam Jackson.
Pretty much.
Nick Fury is no more.
Oh yeah, because he just like, I mean, like, yeah, the character of Nick Fury was always like a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but he has become just straight sass. Nothing but sass from this guy 24/7. And I mean, he would hate Harrison, or like Indiana Jones. Those two would be a fun pairing. That should be the rule, is eventually you have to make a sequel where your guy teams up with Samuel L. Jackson and he brings a lot of sass to the table.
We'll call it the Die Hard rule.
Exactly, yeah. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Vengeance. I do think that, like, yeah, I think he's okay in this, though. I think that as a movie that tries to do, like, what if he was too old for this? It doesn't feel like it does that much new stuff that the other one of these didn't do that was kind of that.
I mean, there's the one scene with him on the rocks that's like, I got 8 screws in my knee, and it's so hard for me to do this crap. But in, like, a previous scene, he very quickly, like, jumps from, like, one moving car to another moving car, like, flawlessly.
Yeah.
It seems like he's totally fine.
Yeah, like, even in that first bit of Crystal Skull, there's that gag where he, like, tries to do the jump and it doesn't work. And I was like, I thought that would work. But it's it's kind of, like, off his game a little bit. But, yeah, it's weird. What else is interesting about this movie? Sala. Such good Sala in this movie.
Oh, Sala.
What's wrong with Indiana Jones?
It's crazy that we let John Rhys Davies do this, and no one said anything.
I mean,
what were you gonna do, right?
Yeah, I feel like in these, like I said, if there was anybody else, I think they'd use them, but they just don't have any other guys. I mean, they have Short Round, but I refuse to do that that Short Round Origins pitch movie thing.
Yeah.
But besides that, like, I can't even think of who else you would bring back.
I mean,
Ray Winstone, his classic friend who exploded in that big, like, temple in the last one.
Yeah,
John Hurt, I guess.
Yeah, you could do John Hurt. That would make sense.
Oh, what about the other guy? What about the professor, the one from the last one who resigned? That guy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, he was already kind of replacing Denham Elliott, who had died.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot that Sean Connery died in 2020.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Submarine. He was a
submarine man in that one movie.
Yep. He predicted it. We should have known. Maybe he had the Dial of Destiny.
Make you think.
He's a weird one. I feel like this movie, I don't know. It is weird that he's in it.
I guess, like I said, we just grandfather it in. It's like, all right, you did this like 40 years ago, so I guess you're allowed to do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, also, there are no rules. And also, no one saw this movie.
Also, that he's a New York cab driver now?
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, what was his job even before? Just like a guy who was kind of your handler, right?
I mean,
he was drive Indiana Jones around.
He was like an excavator in Raiders.
Oh yeah.
Like Indy is like I can see why the Nazis. I know why the Nazis would hire you, Sala, because you're so good at digging things up. And he's like, no, they're hiring everybody and paying us really bad. It sucks, actually.
That's right.
And in Last Crusade, he's actually pretty well off. John Rhys Davies specifically requested that his wardrobe be made a lot nicer because he feels like Sala would have been doing very well for himself at that point. So, I don't know, I guess during World War II that all fell apart and he had to flee to America and become a cab driver.
Well, I don't want to know what he did in World War II then. I don't know.
Well, it was... So, Egypt was a British-controlled territory at the start of the war, and I don't think they ever lost it, although the fighting did reach there. Because the German campaign for North Africa swept from, like, west to east, and, like, almost pushed the British out of Egypt, but that's where they, like, stalled the offensive and then fought back.
Right. Yeah.
So, I don't know.
What do we think of... What was the deal with Boyd Holbrook in this movie?
Who was that?
He's the guy.
Indy's... no, you mean the minion. Boyd
Yeah.
Sorry, Toby Jones is Indy's super cool friend that we all know and love.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He
Toby Jones is okay.
loves money and Nazis.
Yeah.
And shooting innocent people for no reason.
I just couldn't quite figure him out. That's why by the end of the movie, I was like, this guy's gotta be a secret Nazi. Why else would he do it?
Are you sure he wasn't a secret Nazi? Like, I feel like he was a secret Nazi.
He was blonde.
He was blonde, and like him and the other guy, the fucking like
the world's hugest man.
Yeah, Jai Courtney. If you put like an air pump in him, like Bugs Bunny, he just pumped him up a bunch.
Fucking Jai Courtney mixed with like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, Giant Courtney, his brother. Because I did watch that movie, and I'm like, whoa, what has happened? Because he kind of got the face, but he's not Jai Courtney. He's some other guy. That guy is weird. Did Indiana Jones ever get in a fight with him?
I don't think like a direct
fight. I think so.
Because
he would have lost. He's so huge.
Right, but Indiana Jones usually fights the big guy and like...
That's true.
You know, kind of tricks him into dying or something. I don't think he did that in this.
Well, the kid did that this movie.
Yeah.
He tricked him into drowning.
It's a pretty sick trick.
For things to talk about, I would love you all to join me over here in my history corner for a moment.
Let's do it. Pedantry corner? Is your history pedantry corner?
There's definitely a lot of pedantry here.
Okay.
But it's a pedantry that is, like, actually quite relevant and sort of insane that they don't bring it up.
Okay.
So first, the minor pedantry. At the beginning, he talks about Archimedes making the, like, magnifying glass that sets ships on fire. And, and like, the iron hooks and whatnot. Those are things he theorized, but as far as we can tell, were never actually made or used and wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, right? That would be crazy if he did make the magnifying glass that sets the ships on fire and they just shelved it. Oh, no, we're not going to use this. Let's shoot the missiles at him.
When would this come up?
Yeah. Why would we want to set him on fire?
Yeah, he did live in Syracuse at the time of the Roman siege, and the Syracusans were like, hey, you got anything for us? And at least according to the histories we have, which are not always reliable, that was a thing he proposed, but never actually happened. The second, much larger thing that I can't believe doesn't get mentioned, Archimedes fucking dies in that siege.
No.
That's where he died.
Oh my god. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So why not have like Boyd Holbrook shoot him or something, or like have him be killed by the Nazis?
Oh my god!
Well, according to legend, he was like working out a mathematical problem as the city fell and the Romans were coming in, and a soldier was sent to get him because like the Roman commander was like, Archimedes is a genius. We gotta like go get him to do stuff for us. But when the guy get him, Archimedes was like, hold on, I'm doing something. Come back later. And the soldier got mad and stabbed him, and then he died.
What? That's horrible.
That's the legend. We don't know that that's what happened. But he definitely did die in that siege. So it's like, you get to the end point where we see him, and it's like, oh, the unfinished dial is on his desk. Like, oh, he hasn't made it yet. I'm like, when does he fucking make it then? Because he's going to die in like 2 hours.
Well, they don't. It's a causality loop because they
Right.
give him the
No,
dial.
they take it
Yeah.
back. They take it back. Phoebe Waller-Bridge specifically is like, we can't let him keep that because it's a problem for time.
Well-
and it's on his bedstand when they get back.
Sure, but it's a causality loop kind of still, because it's like they're like, hey, your time travel dial's going to work, by the way. We're using it to time travel now.
Sure.
So, like, might as well just leave it with him. Who cares? He's going to make it. Or he's not. But if
But
he doesn't,
when?
then he didn't.
he's literally about to die. When did he make it?
He's about
Well,
to...
how long was the siege, Diggins? Maybe it was a very long siege.
If we're at the point where they're assaulting the walls, that's the end of the siege.
That's so funny.
Maybe he's doing time
and it's
travel
even crazier because Harrison
calculations.
Ford is like, I must stay with you. It's like, bro, he's about to
It's
die.
like, dude, yeah, you're an archaeologist. You know history. You know he dies here. What do you think you're going to learn in the next 30 minutes?
He secretly also just wanted to die. He's like, I fucking am so done.
I mean, that's the metaphor,
Yeah.
but still.
It's weird that they go to Archimedes' time.
There's also
What
a,
are the odds?
Yeah.
a thing that they kind of imply at that point. Or, like, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is like, oh, he was trying to get people to come help win the siege. The dial always takes you here. And I'm like, hold on.
Oh.
She says that.
I didn't get that either.
But she literally says
Does
it
she?
out
Okay.
loud with her mouth, so I don't know how you didn't get it.
I mean, I could have been on TikTok or sleeping or there's so many options, Diggins. So many options.
But I'm like, wait a second. He didn't, like, make the time fissures. This is a
Yeah.
device that
Yeah.
measures things precisely to the point where you can find time fissures. Like,
yeah.
I don't think he can control where they take you. So how would that be possible that he did that?
Yeah, and also, wait, if that's the case, then was Indiana Jones lying about the continental drift thing?
Yeah, continental drift. Continental drift.
Because, like, then it wouldn't take you there.
I don't know, because that is, like... he's not wrong about that. The stars... An Antikythera measures stars. And
Yeah.
the stars as they existed 2,000 years ago are not the stars we see now.
We learned that in Moon Knight.
Yeah.
That's what I learned in Moon
right.
Knight.
So, like, he is right about that. But then also, according to Phoebe Waller-Bridge, works the way Archimedes intended. So, like, what's going on?
See, that's why, like, again, it's these last two movies, you gotta leave it, like, a little ambiguity, right? Like Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? He doesn't see, the reaching through, face melting, da-da-da. Like, leave it ambiguous, right? With the aliens,
Yeah.
shouldn't have saw the actual aliens. Just see Kate Blanchett, mind explode, and be like, oh, that was weird. Don't show a big UFO at the end, right? Like, oh, that was weird. Maybe it was aliens. In this, like, and again, I don't know how you do ambiguous time travel, but, like, it's either they never go through the portal, or, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you
It's-
just don't have him go through. Don't have Indy go through the portal. Have Indy jump through the other plane, and Indy knows that that Mads Mikkelsen's gonna die because the watch gets taken from him. So he just lets it play out. Like,
Yeah, you can even see, like, something stupid, right? Like, Matt Mikkelsen's, like, he goes and crashes, and then Archimedes is like, oh, but,
You mean the thing that
maybe
happens?
he picks up some of the...
yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
but, like, without Indy. Maybe he picks up one of those guns and is like, oh, this will help.
Yeah, like, you kind of. Oh yeah, and then they win the siege. Do they win that siege or lose it in history?
The Romans win.
Okay.
The Greeks lose very badly.
Well, now things are gonna change. Archimedes is gonna show up with a couple of AKs and just start blasting dudes.
So did either of you get this feeling? And, like, I don't know how this would have happened, but part of me was like, well, they did go back in time, and, like, Indy goes back. I was waiting, like, slight hope, back in, like, present day, quote unquote, that, like, Shia LaBeouf Mutt was gonna walk through alive now, and that's why Marion was back. Like, I don't know how they would have done the Flash can of chili or whatever, but, like, I was some sign for Mutt to not go into the Vietnam War
George
via.
Clooney walks through the door.
I honestly did kind of think that was about to happen.
I didn't even think about that.
I don't know how. I don't know how. What Indy or Phoebe Waller-Bridge inscribe into a rock or whatever,
Yeah.
or just fucking somehow. I don't know.
Well,
I wish.
when Marion walked through the door, I was like, well, that must be what happened, because otherwise, why would she be here? This doesn't make any sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And she's, like, acting kind of normal. like, what's your problem, Indy? It's like, but, you know, like, cause she's like, oh, we went grocery shopping. Why are you being weird? It's like,
Yeah.
you just signed the divorce papers. And I was just waiting for Shia LaBeouf Mutt to walk through. Cause that would be how you do it. You kill the character and then you bring him back to life.
Well, then that's how you write it, is instead of having him go to Vietnam War, he just like goes cliff diving in Syracuse and accidentally bonks his head, and then like Indiana Jones just moves that rock or something while he's back in time.
Yes, exactly.
Hold on real quick. Let me just take this tree over here. Like, I don't know how he'd do it, but something he would have to affect that would be like, yeah, Mutt, don't go jump off the cliff. But I mean, it's weird. It's extra weird too, because like, yeah, as far as time travel, I guess like Indiana Jones, it's like Indiana Jones usually doesn't use the thing. Like that's, I guess, not true in Temple of Doom or in Last Crusade.
Yeah, he does
give his
drink
dad
from
the
the
stuff.
Grail. Yeah,
But yeah, the rest of them all survive.
he drinks from the Grail too. Both he and his dad both do it.
So he's immortal then.
No, having just watched this movie recently, the knight specifically says like, "Oh yeah, by the way, the Grail only makes you immortal if you stay in this cave forever."
Oh, I forgot about that. But is that has been the explanation for why Sean Connery can pick Indiana Jones up off that cliff, kind of, is because he has immortal cup strength for 5 minutes, I guess. And
I mean, that's like a fan theory. I don't think there's been anything official about that.
You got to ask Harrison Ford in every interview. That's the only way we'll ever find out.
Yeah, he'll love that.
Yeah, ask him who'll win in a fight: the dog for Secret Life of Pets or the Cowboys for Aliens character. That's his favorite.
I know we keep bringing this up, and we'll probably bring it up every week that we do a new movie, but it is a shame that we don't have Harrison Ford and Phoebe Waller-Bridge on the late night circuit, just like fucking talking about this movie.
Did you see him on the podcast circuit?
No!
He was on Conan O'Brien's podcast, and I don't know if this seems like a new clip, because it was circulating like this week.
Yeah.
It could have been something from like 10 years ago. But, well, I mean, he's only been podcasting for maybe like 5 years. But either way, the clip is him, Indiana Jones, I mean, whatever, Harrison Ford, and Conan says something like, so your parents are both from, you know, I don't know, like Mexico or whatever. And then Harrison Ford's like, that's not true. Where do you get your research or something, as a joke? And he takes the notes from Conan that are the notes Conan's reading. And he's like, it says Han Solo on these notes. Did you need to be remembered? You couldn't remember that I was Han Solo? It's pretty cute.
Also, I can't believe Conan just showed up to the podcast just now.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I mean, he loves podcasts. He needs a friend. That's the name of his podcast. And he's given up on Harrison Ford. That's not going to happen. So he's got to go to other podcasters. It's us. It's the Sunny Guys. Joe Rogan's up next. So we really got to make this work. Otherwise, Conan's going to go down a really bad rabbit hole.
Uh-oh.
Or he's going to fix Joe Rogan. I don't know. It's one or the other. So it's a risk I'm not willing to take.
Damn right.
But yeah, I do feel like the late night circuit with him would be fun. We also get maybe Antonio Banderas. He's usually fun in those.
Yeah.
And Mads Mikkelsen. I think Mads Mikkelsen, is he the actor that is the bitch in the Thing?
Yes.
Yeah, like he seems like a fun. You know what I'm talking about, DJ?
I don't.
Okay, so he's in the Rihanna "Bitch Better Have My Money" video.
Oh,
and
okay.
when interviewed about it, I think I don't remember exactly the quote, but he says he is the bitch.
Well,
the bitch is me.
The way it goes is, interviewer asked him about why he did that. He was like, "Oh, well, I got a request from like Rihanna's team about that, and I didn't know who she was, so I talked to my kids about it, and they were like, "What? Are you kidding? Rihanna asked you to be in this. You have to do it. If you don't do it, we'll kill you." And then someone asks him. And I think he says, and I've listened to her stuff since then, and she's quite good. And so the follow-up question is, what's your favorite Rihanna song? And he said, well, I'm still rather fond of Bitch Better Have My Money. After all, I am the bitch.
Right, that's what it is. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, like he seems like a good time, you know.
That's cool.
It's fun. Gellert Grindelwald, remember that?
Yeah, he got to replace Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Is he our current Grindelwald?
So far.
I mean, in so much as we have a current Grindelwald.
Yeah, I haven't checked the Grindelwald forums yet, but I don't think a new Grindelwald has been announced because we haven't seen black smoke rise out of J.K. Rowling's dungeon or whatever.
I honestly can't remember. Did those movies get canceled? I cannot remember.
I honestly think we're in a state of sede vacante as far as Grindelwalds are concerned. The Grindelwald seat is vacant.
that, yeah, I do think there's no, like, I don't think there's plans to make the next one. They're rebooting Harry Potter as a series now, too, so, like, it doesn't seem like they want to keep this going with all those actors everyone loves and movies that nobody cares about. But, you know, whatever, I don't know. It's
just like one or the other.
There's a lot of movies that I didn't think would ever get made, and they are, so who knows. What else was interesting about this movie? I didn't like, here's something I didn't like. I didn't like Indiana Jones going to that parade. That didn't feel Indiana Jones to me. I don't know. Did that bug anybody else?
Whatever.
I don't think Indiana Jones should be a public figure. Like, people shouldn't see him and recognize him. His whole deal is he's always kind of like in the background, you know? He's like doing archaeology and stuff, and this crazy thing happened, but you never heard about it because all the Nazis exploded. But, like, the idea that he's, like, running through the parade and then Boyd Holbrook pulls out his gun and shoots it, and everybody's like, what the fuck is going on? That just feels un-Indiana Jonesy to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
But also, I didn't like that scene just in general. It didn't make any sense.
I mean, none of the action scenes are really... I don't know. They all feel so lifeless.
Yeah.
How much are we putting this on James Mangold, who maybe isn't like... Maybe this wasn't like his... He did Logan, sure, but like maybe there's something about Indiana Jones that like...
I think
is a misstep for him.
I think what it is what James Mangold is very good at is like making things that are supposed to be bombastic and making them very understated. Like that's what's cool about Logan, right? It's like a superhero movie, but he like pulls it back, and it's just kind of Wolverine as a sad old man. And
even like the wrestler is kind of that, right? It's like this guy, but he's a sad old man.
Right, but this is trying to be a normal Indiana Jones movie, but in that style. And that doesn't really work because the goofy, bombastic nature of it is what's fun about an Indiana Jones movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, it's not like this movie was understated, though. This wasn't like a serious take on Indiana Jones. It was very, like, procedural.
Yeah, no, it wasn't understated in terms of, like, the writing or anything, but in terms of the filming of it, where, like, he doesn't play into, like, the goofiness of anything that happens. Like I said, like, you have in Last Crusade, there's, like, cartoony punch sound effects when he hits somebody, when, or I'm trying to think of other examples.
Even in Crystal Skull with, like, those dumbass teenagers, like, doing the weird, like, what, race us, army guys? Like just weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg puts in his movies.
And there just isn't stuff like that in this movie. And I feel like that's...
And the Horizons! He didn't do the Horizons right.
Every time I saw...
are probably always in the middle.
I was going to say, every time I looked at a Horizon, it was right in the middle of the frame. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. I actually... excuse me. I looked it up, by the way. I don't know why I thought... Well, I know why I thought, because they're kind of similar. He didn't direct The Wrestler. Darren Aronofsky directed The Wrestler. Other James Mangold movies, in case anyone's curious. Ford v. Ferrari.
Okay, sure.
So that, speaking of movies,
a quintessential dad movie.
Yeah, Night and Day.
Hell yeah.
That movie where Tom Cruise is like running around and Cameron Diaz is there.
Mission Impossible?
Okay.
No, Night and Day. Night with a K, by the way. Obviously.
Like Transformers: The Last Night?
That's exactly right, yeah. He also did 3:10 to Yuma, which I think I kind of remember liking when I saw it. Walk the Line, which is probably like his biggest movie at the time.
The Johnny Cash movie?
Yeah.
Damn.
I think that's why I thought it was Wrestler, because I knew he had an Oscar movie back in the early, or like the mid to late 2000s.
Okay.
He did Kate and Leopold, which I did not realize doesn't seem really to fit in this space. Yeah. You guys remember that? Speaking of movies where time travel happens.
I remember it existing.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
And Girl Interrupted and Copland are also him. So he's got an interesting career. He's doing the Swamp Thing movie next, it seems like. And a Star Wars movie that'll probably never be made, because that's just how these go. 1 out of every 10 Star Wars movies that's announced actually gets made. So, I don't know. Lucasfilm is in a weird spot now, right?
Yeah.
Because they had Indiana Jones, that's kind of flopped now. They gave up on Willow, and Star Wars is also kind of stalled.
Willow never existed now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know. I don't think Lucasfilm is like amazing. Were they also the Fraggles, or is that different people? Not the Fraggles. What's the one? Dark Crystal?
No, that's Henson.
That is Henson. Okay. Does Lucasfilm have any other IPs?
They have a bunch of video game IPs. I don't know if they still own any of those, though.
Oh, yeah. I don't think they do. I'm pretty sure I don't know. Maybe they do. I kind of remember that not being the case, though. But yeah, it's a weird little company. But yeah, what else was weird about this movie? I mean, people brought up, speaking of nitpicks, that Indiana Jones is wanted for murder still, we would assume.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird that just gets dropped.
Yeah. How did they...
like, they have no proof, like...
Well, that's true. Yeah, they have no proof, and, like, turns out... Well, I don't know, because did they even find out that the guy he was working with was a secret Nazi? Nobody knows what happened to him, either.
Or the dead CIA agent. That would present a problem.
Yeah.
A dead CIA agent? Like, Indiana Jones is, he should have stayed in the past. Can you imagine, like, no, Indy, you have to come. He's like, I'm a wanted criminal.
Yeah.
This is the only place I'm safe.
People saw me run away from a couple of agents, get on a horse, get on a subway. And then all those agents are dead. They don't know that they're bad guys, so it's probably isn't going to work.
My only recourse is to stay here with Archimedes and die in 12 minutes.
Because then, wait a second, yeah. Does the army even ever find out? I guess Indiana Jones could tell him, but I don't know if they believe him anymore. That Mads Mikkelsen was bad?
I mean, there should be a report filed.
They're aware Mads Mikkelsen was a Nazi, so I feel like...
Well, sure. Yeah.
I feel like it's probably not that hard to convince them.
I guess that's true. So then do you think, like, he would disappear and they'd be like, I guess he probably was doing Nazi stuff still. And then Indiana Jones would be like, yeah, that's what it was. And then they'd go, all right, go.
They'd be like, well, Indiana Jones, you are one of our top experts on who is and is not a Nazi.
Well, right.
Yeah,
and this reminds me of the fucking, I mean, not every Mission Impossible movie is this, but a lot of them are, where they start back from zero every single time. And it's like, and they did this in Crystal Skull too, where they're like, you didn't, are you a communist, sir? And like, I get it. That's what was happening at the time. But it's like, he's fucking Indiana Jones. Don't you guys give him one for doing all the crazy shit he did? Either you don't believe any of it happened, and then you're just like, this guy's a kook, or he's the hero of the whole world. So many, like, you guys would know, but I don't know. They always have to start back from scratch, which is fine.
Yeah.
What else? I like Antonio Banderas. I don't know.
For all 5 minutes he's on screen.
I do like the idea that Indiana Jones knows guys we don't know yet. Like, introducing new actors. That's why the solid bit didn't quite work for me. Is like, I like that he's just got friends that popping out of the woodwork. That are also old men like him.
Well, he's not going out and making new friends at his age.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of new friends, and about Teddy. What do you think about Teddy? I like how he was able to fly a plane. If the pilot was asleep in there, just have the pilot do it. Or maybe that was the pilot's like, no, I'm not going to fly the plane.
Yeah, I do think that's what the pilot would have said.
Mm-hmm.
Well, have Teddy be like, I just killed a man. I'll fucking kill you too. You fly this, you're dead.
That's true.
I'm a cold-blooded killer now.
I think the Teddy character is like, I understand why he's here, but also...
Really? Can you tell me?
Because they did this once before, and that character's pretty popular, I guess. They wanted to do Short Round again, and I
guess. But this isn't Short Round again, is the problem.
I mean, it's the same kind of like spunky kid sidekick who gets in all kinds of trouble. Whatever. But like, yeah, there's no like reason for him to be in this. Besides, we need someone to fly the second plane.
Yeah, how else are we going to get back?
Yeah.
Which, just make a way so they could use the original plane. Make it not crash or whatever.
Now, Archimedes could fix it. It's a time machine. You could take as long as you want.
That's true.
One of those Roman snipers hits Mads Mikkelsen with a harpoon.
Bro, those guys were incredible.
They were pretty cool. Although, if you're them, do you shoot at it, or do you just go like, this is it, we're all done, let's bail out, fellas. I don't think we're going to be able to beat that. Either it's on our side and we just won, or it's not and we're going to die.
I mean, that would be me, personally.
Yeah, it's just like, well, surrender, fucking. Although, to Diggins' point earlier of how did any of this fucking matter if Archimedes was about to die? So on his tomb, there was like, whatever, it's like, oh, they're blades
Propellers.
on his tomb.
Oh, yeah.
Propeller. Unless one of the guys were like, well, let's put this on here.
Well,
yeah, but they had his guys.
One of the guys who saw it.
Yeah, he had guys. He had like students. They don't necessarily die, so they could have done it.
All right.
Well, you kind of figure, like, if that's what we're going to do, you would have them write some secret code to Indiana Jones or something that Indiana Jones would have seen already and been like, why is that there? And then, but instead it is just like, yeah, randomly, they're like, remember that big old thing that crashed the other day? Let's put a little bit of that on there just to spice up this tombstone.
And he loved that watch so much in his last 12 minutes of life. We gotta bury him with it.
Bury him in his golden watch. But like also, it's like, I guess bury him in his watch, but also it's like, it's a watch, guys. That's really cool. Give it to them to study or something. I don't know.
I mean, in fairness, it wouldn't have made a lot of sense to them because their conception of like time and hours was not the same as ours.
Right.
Like
that makes sense.
Back then, because they used sundials, an hour was not a uniform thing. There was 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night. And like however long the day was, that's divide by 12. That's how long an hour was that day.
Right. Guys, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is it woke?
No. Oh, this is hard.
All right, let me start. Yes, it's woke because Nazis are the bad guys.
Ooh.
Yeah, I did. Well, but,
so therefore woke.
But I did see a criticism from the woke side that was that they didn't. This is a fucking stupid review on like Rotten Tomatoes. A lot of people pointed out the person's like, Indiana Jones doesn't fight the Nazis with ideas. He just punches them. Like he should rebuke their fundamentalist theories or whatever. I don't know, but yeah,
and I'm okay with punching Nazis.
I don't know. I feel like this movie isn't woke because
Sala just makes it not woke.
That's true. Yeah,
yeah, that is
yeah.
a big...
You know what? Whatever that is, whatever we're calling that, that's pretty not woke.
Also, they let an aging white man still gets to be the hero, despite all odds.
Not woke.
Also, they killed that one black character for no reason. That was pretty not woke of them.
Also not woke, yeah. Man, is the only woke part that Nazis are the bad guys?
Now, Indiana Jones took a train. It's pretty, like, mass transit.
Yeah.
That's true.
Also, it implies that a character shouldn't have fought in a war.
Yeah.
That's pretty woke.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not woke because, like, it implies that he shouldn't have fought in a war, but Indiana Jones doesn't go back in time and save him. So Indiana Jones is still like, but it was what it was good to do that. We all do appreciate what Vietnam...
I still wish... I don't know how they would have done it, but they could have got them writers together, or AI, to figure out a way to make Indy tell Mutt or him that you die if you go join the war.
Or just take a pit stop. Go take the dial, get in a plane, go somewhere else before you get home. Like, Indiana Jones was apparently in some sort of coma for the end of the movie, but, like, maybe Phoebe Waller-Bridge did that before they went home.
But then, if the thing she says, where the dial will only ever lead you to the siege of Syracuse, then that wouldn't work.
Yeah, no,
but
that's true.
That can't be how. So, we didn't really get into this, but I don't think it matters. So, time fissures are just spots in storms where space reality rips and you go through time.
They're just some spontaneous natural phenomenon. Yeah,
sure. If it were present day, like today, 2023. We would have some fucking technology to locate them. Satellites or weather balloons.
Yeah.
Or
a submarine.
What? Like,
an Antikythera.
We would find every time fissure and people would be fucking shit up.
Well,
like it would be really bad.
Wait, so the time fissures only... They don't... But like, the Antikythera... Or the dial leads you to time fissures specifically to take you back to Syracuse. But there's, presumably, other time fissures that are just happening.
Yeah,
if you found,
exactly.
You could go back to, like, Attila the Hun times or whatever.
Yeah, dinosaurs, like, whatever.
Like, I feel like, this movie it's a very weird time travel movie. It's very weird that the movie starts in the past and we never go there. Like, I do think this version that you were saying they pitched is better than the one we got. Where he has to protect Hitler. I think that's pretty funny. And I do like that, like, would you go back in time and kill Hitler? No, because I'm not a Nazi. I would go back in time and protect Hitler, so I lost the war.
Because it turns out Hitler was pretty stupid.
Yeah. I would say this movie's not woke because Phoebe Waller-Bridge is in it, but also, like, she's not super woke either in this movie. she says capitalism is good, and then does some capitalism.
Yeah.
We're supposed to understand that her pro-capitalism attitude is bad.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I didn't hate that line, but I think I'm kind of starting to grate on me. These little kind of like, not like digs at capitalism, because obviously I love capitalism so much because it's good and not stupid.
I love it
yeah,
so
right.
No,
yeah.
but like it reminds me of that line in Spider-Verse that's kind of similar, where like there's the big time fisher thing kind of opens up, and what's his name, Spider-Punk is like, it's not capitalism or something. Like I don't know. It feels like on one hand it's cool because make fun of capitalism. The other hand, it just feels like this really lazy joke that we're gonna get a lot of for the rest of our lives. I don't know.
Nah, I think
we'll get it for the rest of our lives
things
because capitalism will never go away until it kills us all.
Yeah. Unless we can find a time fisher.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Go back in time and kill Adam Smith.
Yeah.
Do you really think the studios are going to let the capitalism joke stand after the writer's strike? That's going to be in like the new like collective bargaining agreement. Like no more capitalism jokes. You can't make those jokes. You can only say capitalism is a good thing.
That would be interesting. The AI, they'll like just start typing the word capitalism is good 1,000,000 times in a Word document and feed that to the AI, so it just automatically starts working that into scripts. Yeah.
The AIs are pro-capitalist, which of course they should be because it is good.
Yeah. Obviously, it's good. Yeah, I would say this movie's pretty woke because it didn't do well, right? That's one of our defining features.
True.
Kind of bombed.
Yeah,
Didn't quite
it bombed, so it's woke.
But like it flash bombed, I guess, whatever we're calling that. Although, did you guys hear how much money this movie cost to make?
Was it like 300 mil? Some crazy number like
it's
that?
Insane. Yeah. Like, why?
I don't know, man.
I think this movie got reshot a fair amount, too. And I imagine that's part of it.
Okay, well, there you go.
Sal ain't free.
Mystery solved, yeah. And he should only be in scenes that he deems appropriate, not weddings.
That's right.
Weddings are a disservice.
Yeah. I'm going to say this movie...
I'm going with not woke. I think it's not woke.
What do we think?
A lot of not woke elements.
What do we think on the wokeness factor of killing Shia LaBeouf?
That is pretty woke because he's canceled.
That's the thing. Like, he was canceled, but also before he was canceled, he did a lot of weird, like, anti-Trump stuff that, like, fascists didn't like made fun of him for. So, like, I don't know.
You hate when they put you in a crossroads where you're like, is it woke or not?
Yeah, I mean, they had Vietnam protesters in this movie, too. But also, Indiana Jones used them as a weapon to fight the guys, so...
Yeah.
That's kind of not woke.
I guess ultimately I'm gonna go with not woke on this one because it's about remembering a thing from your childhood that you liked, and that's not woke.
I'm gonna also say it's not woke because Indiana Jones, for the first thing he does in this movie is tell a bunch of kids to turn that dang music down, and the movie doesn't really have anything to say about that. It's just like they should do that.
It's the thing that happens. Yeah.
The Beatles suck because hippie music. Yeah, not woke.
That's pretty not woke. But it did not make money, so it is woke. But you know,
go woke, go broke.
They almost got it. Anything else about Indiana Jones Dallas? Do you think they ever go back to this and go actually? Because it seemed like the last one was the last one until it didn't perform well, and then they wanted to do another last one.
I'll put this in the prediction column for whatever year it's appropriate, or if I could do it for next. Well, I don't know how we do these, but I think within the next 5 years we will get another one of these. I feel so confident about it. One last ride, Indiana Jones and the, I don't know, the diapers of the ancient Horcrux.
Wow,
it's gonna be huge.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I don't think they will. The fact that they haven't made like another Star Wars movie yet, or like don't seem to have any interest in doing more Rey Star Wars stuff, makes me kind of assume. Well, I guess they do because they want to now. But like it took them so long to do that. Makes me feel like Lucasfilm as a studio is just kind of in a holding pattern. And this movie lost so much money that
Yeah,
I don't think we get
it's
another
true.
one of these
Fair
for
enough.
a while. But it is like, besides just like Marvel and Disney animation, like their fourth or fifth most popular IP that Disney owns. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
We'll see.
yeah, maybe we'll find out. You guys, speaking of things that may or may not be woke, do you guys want to get to our classic segment?
Let's do it.
All right, let's recommend some things.
All right, I have a fairly recent recommendation to start us off with. Jujutsu Kaisen, which is an anime I've mentioned before. Season 2 just dropped on, as far as I know, just Crunchyroll. Because it just dropped in Japan like a couple days ago, July 6th. So yesterday, as of our recording of this. So for those who aren't familiar, Jujutsu Kaisen is a anime that follows this. It's like a shonen school. There's like a school where these students they try to become jujutsu sorcerers who are people who exorcise evil spirits, and they all have their own little power because it's a shonen, so everyone gets their own little power. And season 2 is actually a flashback season where it goes back to one of the teachers, Gojo, who everyone loves. The internet loves him, just trust me. It's when he was at Jujutsu High, which is the name of the school, and before he was a teacher, when he was a student there. And it's great. The animation is awesome. The action scenes are so good. It's funny. It's cute at parts. The characters are really good. And this is like one of my favorite animes out right now. I haven't seen Demon Slayer, even though I need to see Demon Slayer according to my wife and my friends and everyone. But yeah, I watched the first episode of season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen, and I'm really looking forward to it. I believe season 1, if you don't have Crunchyroll, season 1 is on Max, so you can check that out on Max.
Max,
we love
when
Max.
you're done
And
with
then,
The Idol and Otter Dynasty and
Oh,
the house flipping shows and stuff, turn it over to Crunchyroll.
Go watch Jujutsu Kaisen. And but if you do have Crunchyroll, which I think it's a good service, I love Crunchyroll. They have season 1. They have the movie, which was really good, and that's where you get season 2. And I've still played Final Fantasy 16 so much. I fucking love that game. It has consumed my life. I learned the other day I could play it one-handed. I was able to feed the baby.
You were feeding the baby.
You feeding the baby? Yeah.
You guys are gross.
You can watch
You guys are
Quibi
gross.
and play Final Fantasy 16. That's all you need.
It's true. And then I'll figure out how to incorporate the sandwich into that. But, yeah. I don't think I've read anything else recently. But, yeah. So that's all I got. That's just my rec. Diggins, how about you?
I got a bunch, so I'm going to go through them real quick. I watched a bunch of movies. 25th Hour is a movie from Spike Lee, starring Edward Norton as a drug dealer on the last day before he has to go to prison. It's just kind of this like real sort of quiet odyssey almost. Like all the things he does in that day, he goes hangs out with some of his friends, they like go to a club at nights. We find out about his friends and their problems and what they've got going on in their life. But it just all adds up to this very like kind of very melancholy feeling of regret and looking back on one's life and what could have been. And it's, I don't know, I really enjoyed that. I watched another movie called Kotoko or Kotoko. I'm not sure. I don't know how to pronounce Japanese names. I'm sorry. This is a 2011 movie by Shinya Tsukamoto, who you might most know as the guy who did Tetsuo the Iron Man. It is a movie about a single mother with severe mental illness. She like hallucinates everyone she meets. She like hallucinates a second version of them who like attacks her.
God.
Wait, that's a severe mental illness?
Yeah.
Oh shit! That's just I thought that was just what everyone sees.
Oh.
God damn.
And she has other kinds of like hallucinations and delusions. It's very bad. And so it's kind of about her sort of trying to get her life together, and also she ends up in a relationship with this novelist that's kind of messed up in some ways. It's very much a movie about immersing you in like her perspective and getting you to understand like what it is like for her to live like this, which makes it a pretty difficult watch at many points, but I think a really fascinating one. I think the way it's like shot and made is very interesting, and like it really helps you understand the way that she feels, and it gives you a lot of empathy for her, even though because of her illness she does some not amazing things. And the other movie I watched, guys, have you ever thought about what might happen if fire and water kissed?
Oh,
Get the fuck out.
You know what? I do think I have a theory. Fire kills water.
You'd
Just 100% water dies immediately.
You'd think that, Nando, or you think it the other way, one of the two, right?
Right,
But actually, it turns out that when fire and water kiss, you get, honestly, a pretty good movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked Elemental.
Your credibility has been shot, good sir.
wow.
I'm revoking your credibility badge.
Listen,
Whoa.
I'm not here
Yeah.
I'm not here telling you it's like the best movie Pixar's ever made. Like, is it a little like rote and unoriginal? Sure. Does it lack a lot of the like creative spark of the best Pixar movies? Yeah. But
Mostly yes.
But I think the feeling of it being like emblematic of the Pixar rot is like way overstated. I think this is better than a lot of the latter day Pixar movies.
Really? What about it is like appealing?
It's very sweet. Like, it's just the way that they've done it. Like, yeah, like the world building center doesn't make sense. But if you just like accept what's happening in terms of the world building, like the actual story between Ember and Wade, the characters' names, and like the struggles that Ember is going through with like kind of basically as a child of immigrants. I just feel like it's all sketched very well. Like the characters are really like drawn like very vividly, and like I don't know, you feel the romance of it, you feel the struggle, and like I think it handles its subject matter fairly deftly. And just overall, I had a good time with it. I think it's a good movie.
So if I may, and sorry,
No, you go. You may.
I would just like to rebut, and again, not having seen this movie, but I would just like to say this as someone who a once lover of Pixar's amazing movies. We do not have to go so far back into history for, just amazing Pixar movies, right? Like Luca is incredible, and that was 2021. Like, what is this that we've lowered the bar for Pixar so much that it's like, Pixar made like a pretty decent movie.
I didn't love Pixar I didn't love Luca the way you two did. I thought it's good.
Well, you're a fool.
It's good.
What about Soul, the one that is weird at the middle but is good in the beginning?
It's better than Soul.
Yeah. What's the one they made after that? Were
Luca
they Turning
was
Red?
after that. Turning Red, I've actually never seen. I should go watch that.
I think
Turning Red is good. Like,
it's way better than Lightyear.
Oh, Lightyear! Yeah, I
Well,
forgot about
yeah,
Lightyear.
that's-
And it's better than Onward. I think it's better than Incredibles 2, a movie that I think has a lot of problems.
Yeah, Incredibles 2, I don't like
man,
either.
you not liking Luca really?
I like
it
Luca.
makes me
I think Luca
fine,
is
not
good.
loving Luca. Luca's amazing.
You hate Italians.
That's it.
You just
Yeah.
want to see them fail at every corner.
That's
also,
true.
Onward was a Pixar movie.
I
I feel like we were all kind of
I think
mild
Elemental's
on.
I liked Onward.
I think Elemental is
liked
better. I didn't dislike Onward. I thought it was fine, but I think Elemental's better than Onward.
God
I have a
damn,
feeling.
alright.
I know I could see that. I didn't really like Onward that much.
I'll watch it when it's on Disney Plus in 2 weeks and render my verdict.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, those are
Cool.
Thank you,
Those are
Diggins.
my recs. What about you, Nando?
I've watched a bunch of shows this week. I one show a lot and a couple other shows. Real quick, I like kind of mentioned wokeness as we came into this because last night I watched the new Always Sunny episode about Chuck E. Cheese that is so funny and is also kind of a joke about like people that are mad that everything's too woke now, and it's great. Like I'm curious to see what people think about it because I just watch it always. I love I love Sunny. But I don't know if people like think it's the funniest one of the season, but I think it's probably my favorite one so far. I also watched all of Silo on Apple TV Plus. You guys, what if Andor was Snowpiercer, but it was up and down instead of side to side? Wouldn't that be interesting?
What if Andor was Snowpiercer?
Yep.
Is this... Sorry, are you recommending... Is this good?
I don't know. I don't think it's as good as either of those two things. That's the problem. Like,
What?
in theory, I think it's interesting, and I think the acting is pretty good. I like Rebecca Ferguson in it a lot. The show on Apple TV, it's kind of like Lost. It's got Lost vibes where there's like, everybody's living in a silo, but nobody knows why, and there's a mystery and all kinds of bullshit. Like, it's clearly more sketched out than Lost. It's based on a book, so that's a start. But so the first 2 episodes are kind of a prequel to the actual story that really goes from episodes 3 to 10. At the end of episode 3, I turned to Hannah. I'm like, I think I know what the last shot of the last episode of this season is going to be. And I pretty much exactly called it, because I do think these Lost type shows are pretty similar. I didn't hate it, but it's like, it's not quite as like kind of, also it has that Hunger Games thing where everything is pretty much the world we live in now, except every so often a word that we use that's normal gets replaced with a silly word. So like they call the bottom level of their little thing, instead of the bottom, they call it the down deep. It's like, come on, I can't do it. I can't take it seriously. But, the show's okay. I watched that. I watched Sunny. I watched Nimona, the Netflix cartoon.
Okay.
I think it's pretty good. I do think it starts really strong, and I wouldn't say it like loses steam because I know what it's going for. But I don't think it's quite able to maintain that. But I think the animation is great. It's definitely not better than Spider-Verse. It might not be better than Elemental because the Elemental animation looks interesting. But it's good. And like in a year with lesser movies, I think it could be a contender for like best animated, but it's just such a stacked year.
Super Mario Brothers is going to sweep.
It really probably is, honestly.
Hell yeah.
I also watched Guardians because you can watch it now. It's still good. Still probably the best Marvel movie in a while. I'm reading some comics. I read the new Thor comic where MODOK gets the powers of God, and that's kind of interesting. And then I've been reading some older comics. I read the Midnight Suns comic from not too long ago. I think it was like last year.
Nice.
It's okay. At the end of the thing, they go to the Abbey and they're like, this will be a new place we can go. And you're like, is this supposed to be a prequel to the game? And the book's like, kind of. And I'm like, this is weird. But the book itself is fun. And then I read Damnation, which is another kind of interesting story from the 2018s where Doctor Strange does something and it screws up everything. It's one of those stories, so that's fun. And then I read a Marvel Zombie story that starred Morbius. Woo, Michael Morbius. So everybody loves him. Yeah. No El Muerto in that one, but eventually. I think that those comics are fun. I do feel like I probably watched and read other things because I have had a lot of time. I know what the other thing was. Last night I watched a Superman show, the new one, the cartoon.
Nice.
It's like a little anime. He even gets a little Sailor Moon transformation into his suit. But overall, I think it's a good show. It works. It's much younger skewing than I kind of expected. And I think it starts a little slower than I was also kind of expecting. Like, it does do enough origin-y stuff that, like, he's not quite Superman by the end of the first episode, which is fine. Because that's how a lot of these shows go. I did kind of expect it to jump more into it. But so far, it's pretty good. Jack Quaid is a good Superman. He was a good Spider-Man earlier this year when he died in this flashback of Spider-Verse in Gwen's world. So he's having quite a year. That's all that I've watched, except for probably something I forgot. What do you guys think we do next week?
Haunted Mansion, baby!
Yeah, I think that's going to be something. I'm really curious. You said, DJ, you've seen it, right?
I have seen it.
And yes. Diggins, you have not?
I actually have also seen it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A long time ago.
The Eddie Murphy one.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Eddie Murphy one. I've seen it a long time ago. I don't remember a lot of it, but I have seen it.
Interesting.
I'm very excited for all of us.
Yeah, I'm excited too because I just don't know what to expect. Like I know it didn't hit, so that's helpful. But sometimes that means the movie's okay. Sometimes that means the movie is not, and I'm curious to see which one it ends up being. Do you guys have anything to plug, DJ?
Check out Roses and Rejections, where we are covering the latest season of The Bachelorette, which, guys, it's not too bad.
Oh, thank God. Because otherwise this was
actually,
it, right?
It was, yeah. I think they may have salvaged it. I actually think this one's been pretty good. So, yeah, check out Roses and Rejections on the Pop Break TV network.
Wow. Very exciting. Diggins, what about you?
That Indiegogo for Ballads of the Distant Reaches is still chugging along. So if you want to check that out, you only got a little bit more time. me take a look here. Yeah, you only got a couple more weeks left, so you should hop on that and support both great original fantasy writing and me getting money.
Love both of
What
those.
about you, Nando?
I think since last time I put out a video, I cannot remember when we recorded last, but and my ends of the month video either went up right around when we recorded or not, and it was my first on YouTube. It's the first fan casting The Authority, the team of bad guys who are like good guys who are kind of bad. That's going to be probably the second DC movie after Superman Legacy, third if you count Blue Beetle, I guess. But like the second one in the new kind of wave. And so I fan casted them, but it's also just like talking about them and like, who are these guys? Because they seem pretty important. And the fact that they're second is interesting. Because it kind of says something about, I think, what these movies are going to be. I have another version of that, like this, because it's two parts, because there's 8 of them. That one is on Nebula right now, so you can watch that. It's very good. Besides that, I've made a couple of Nando Cut videos in the meantime. A lot of Secret Invasion stuff talking about that. We'll see. Knock on wood. It seems like things are happening, but they haven't happened yet, so we will talk about them when they do. Talked about Indiana Jones. Talked about Mission Impossible, which I've seen, which I really liked. And yeah, between now and last time we talked, probably the Fantastic Forecasting fell apart, so I talked about that in one of my Nando Cut videos. The only other thing that I'm doing right now is I'm in the process, I'm pretty much done, and by me, I mean me and other people, of kind of revamping the Nando V Movies Discord, which, because of all the turmoil in social media these weeks, I'm like, I don't want to have to do this on fucking 10 different apps. I don't want to have to go from Threads to Blue Sky to Mastodon to Twitter. And it does seem like Discord is kind of the best thing for that, in terms of like getting information to people who kind of are interested in it. So I'm redoing that. If you've ever joined it before, give it a look. If you haven't, then the link is in all my YouTube videos, I'm pretty sure. Like in the what's the word? Description. So you can check that out. But yeah, it's just like kind of talking about, you know, my videos, but also like there's a mostly nitpicking little thread where we talk about episodes of that. And then there's like kind of spoiler conversations about stuff like Secret Invasion or, you know, Mission Impossible, whatever else is the hot new thing. So that will be fun. And then next week, yeah, Haunted Mansion. Until then, I've been at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day, which you can find me on Threads, but also Twitter. God. But I don't tweet, so it doesn't really matter. So find me on Threads,
true.
where I don't thread.
I
don't thread either.
I'm on Threads. I'm also on Blue Sky, if anybody's on Blue Sky, which is clearly the superior one, but the one that they don't let people on. So it's like, what's a social network without people? But yeah, they're all bad. Dickens, what's the name that you have that's on some of these? It may be all of them, but who knows?
I'm at This Is an Odd Name on Twitter, which I will never leave until one of us dies. I will never join Threads, and I'll take a Blue Sky invite if one comes my way.
Yeah, they take way too long to like generate for people. Like they take like weeks and weeks. I kind of expected you would take some time and you get like 5 of them, but you don't. Anyway, yeah. So we'll talk to you guys next week. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
See you, everybody.
Bye.